Hello, you dirty freak bitches. Welcome to the new world. Welcome to the future. Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. This episode is brought to you by Stamps.com. If you go to Stamps.com, wow, look how long it takes. What a delay. You guys are living in the past.
That's a long time.
You guys are living in the past. People listening,
weird.
this shit already happened. If you go, what? Stamps.com is a service that allows you to measure stuff at home with your own scale, and then was it?
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
Send shit through the internet, man. You guys are high. This is rude.
Measure.
You weigh things. You measure things. You measure the weight. Is that rude to say measure the weight? That's what it is. You measure the weight, you fucks. First of all, how dare you? All of you.
I was thinking it sounded like a drug term.
For some reason, when I'm typing in JRE, it's not sending me to that. How are you getting there?
Joe?
What do you type it in? Like as far as you type JRE, right?
No, I just do stamps.com.
Stamps.com/Joe. Right.
No. It's not.
No? No, that's not it. No. How did you get? It's stamps.com. You enter in the code word JRE, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
If you buy any of the kitty cat T-shirts that Brian Redband sells, that's how he makes them. He sends them, rather, through stamps.com. If you have a small business and you're trying to go to the post office and wait in line and get your shit weighed and put different labels on boxes, you're gonna go crazy. It's not healthy. This way, you do it all on your home computer. Super simple.
They give you a free weight with a scale.
They give you a scale. They give you, it's a $110 value if you enter in the code word JRE, and there's a no risk trial. Say it again. No risk trial plus $110 bonus offer, including the digital scale and up to $55 of free postage.
Wow.
So they give you a sweet deal. And if you're selling shit, it's a really easy way to deal with things as opposed to like hiring someone to handle it. You can actually handle it yourself. And if you're not selling shit, what do you want to work for somebody forever? Just go make some macrame and sell it. You know, who knows?
Sell purses online. It's the future.
Also,
lot of
you can
fucking
get
people out
cancer
there.
from licking stamps.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
another
you
good
want to
one.
wet a sponge, you fucks. Don't be licking shit.
You remember when you have to lick
You
stamps?
freak bitches.
Yeah, I remember that.
1986.
That's a bad time, man.
For
that was
humanity.
a time,
So,
bad time.
Stamps.com.
Everyone's mouths were sticking together.
Code word JRE. We're also brought to you by Hover. Hover is a internet domain name company that is owned by the people that own. Is it hover.com/Joe Rogan? Is that what it is? Hover.com/Rogan? Hover.com/Rogan.
I think it's /Joe.
Let's see.
You got to get all these people to make the same one.
No, it
Just
is.
all make the same one.
Yeah.
They
I
can
know.
get that together. They can code
can't.
that in no time.
Because they don't want to pretend that each other exists. They're like, if you're a single guy and you got a bunch of girlfriends, they don't want to know that they have other girlfriends. Nobody wants to think that, why
Hover
should
people
we
don't want
change
the
our
stamps
shit
people.
to JRE? You know, just because Squarespace.com uses that. I mean, what the fuck, man? Hover is the domain company that I use, actually. And if you're like a techno idiot like myself, I do not know how to do anything correctly other than really easy, simple, intuitive shit like Facebook or Twitter or something like that. Like, I don't know how to, if I can register a website like super easy and it has things that you normally have to pay for, like who is domain name privacy, which is that's
Ari Shaffir's legs, that's right.
That's key. If you order Ari Shaffir's legs and then, you put that shit online and you don't want people to know, you're just steady beating off to Ari Shaffir's legs. You feel me, people? I mean, they're sexy. Or it could be dickpartyinmymouth.com, which we own.
Go to Ari Shaffir's legs, Joe.
Yeah,
What
we own
is it?
dickpartyinyourmouth.com. Because
I
we
own
were just trying to make the point.
rapesnotfunny.com.
We
You
wanted to
can
make
get-
the point
yeah,
that this you could hide this. Because it would be embarrassing if people knew that you had dickpartyinyourmouth.com.
Right.
Hover.com/Rogan is the sweet spot. If you go there, you will save 10% off your domain name registrations. And like I said, it's the same company that owns Ting. Very ethical company, very reasonable rates, and I use them too. So go. They support the podcast, and we support them, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Onnit.com, last sponsor, ONNIT. Use the code name Rogan, save 10% off any supplements. That's it. Fuck it. Let's not say anything more. I talk too much. Boom. We got Jason Silva. Boom. We got Ari Shaffir. Boom. We got Duncan Trussell. This is the Uber Podcast. It launches now.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Praise Odin, Duncan Trussell.
Praise Odin.
Praise Odin, Jason Silva.
Praise Odin.
Praise Odin, Ari Shaffir. We're finally together again. Oh, this is a fucking super podcast.
Yeah.
This is really great.
This is as sexy as it gets
Yeah,
for me.
I'm very happy to be here, man. Thank you for having me back.
It was
Thank
so
you.
cool running into you at the Global Future 2045 conference, man.
I
That was
know.
badass.
Dude, that was awesome.
That is your world, dude.
I know,
That's where
singularity, man.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually talking with Duncan about this a little while ago. What was your guys' impression? Because, I mean, that's kind of like the Mecca of the singularity. You guys visited Mecca
Yeah.
for the singularity.
And because we visited for the show, we got to talk to some really cool people that
Yeah.
probably would never sit down and talk to us.
Yeah.
You know, like Aubrey de Grey. I got to talk to Aubrey de Grey, which
Yeah.
we'll have that on the show. And, you know, you guys got to talk to, what was the gentleman's name with the robot?
Hiroshi Ishiguro.
Hiroshi Ishiguro is his name?
Ishiguro.
Crazy robot,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Really
Did
weird.
you talk to the one that didn't have limbs?
No.
The little baby one that
yeah,
talks
yeah,
back
yeah.
to you.
Weird, like somewhat limbs.
Yeah,
Well,
but that
looks like a
one freaked
ghost.
me out
Me
because
too.
that one responds to you in conversation. It understands what you say and it responds to you. So you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And it goes, "Good. How are you?" And then it's like, "Good, man. Where are you from?" He's like, "I'm from Tokyo." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Did you like to travel here?" He's like, "Yeah, it was fun." But here's the thing: it's this like humanoid baby with no limbs, which feels like the beginning of like a creepy sci-fi movie
Yeah.
that starts out with showing like the first AI, but it's limbless. So it's this like weird thing, like so we're gonna build them, but they're gonna be like a little circus freaks, you know,
Yeah.
without limbs.
What
And
would be
it just
weirder?
felt really honking. What?
Would it be weirder if it was limbless or if it had limbs that couldn't move? If
Either
it was
or.
paralyzed.
These can move. They can
It's like
hug you with his nubs.
Right, with this
Oh,
nub, but that's why it was
Jesus.
freaky
That
because
is
it felt
fucked up,
because
man.
it responds to you like a human and it's cute. You immediately anthropomorphize it and you start to respond to it like it's alive. And at some point, it'll be so good at responding that by all measures that we know about when it comes to knowing if you have a subjective experience or if you have a subjective, we'll just believe that they're conscious. And at that
Yes.
point, are they just going to be these living, thinking things that we keep like limbless behind like behind a rope so people can like throw money and look at? I mean, it was just freaked me out, the presentation of it. I didn't think it was a
It was
compelling.
behind
I don't think they're going to. I think one thing that people haven't thought of with robots yet is that they think that they're going to be confined to one form. I think the reality is going to be that they are going to be able to disassemble into individual droplets if they want to. They're going to be these self-assembling things that can kind of
Like the Terminator,
Terminator,
remember?
yeah.
When it became
That's
liquid,
it.
the new
That's
model?
what it's going to be. It's going to be like
But think about that. In a way, it's kind of like time-lapsing reality because what are atoms if not self-assembling
Exactly.
entities
Yeah, they
that
just
link
stick
up with
together.
other atoms and
Yeah.
become cells, and then those cells like self-assemble into tissues and organisms? I mean, the whole story of the universe, the opposite of entropy is extropy, right? The things that move towards greater complexity and self-assemble. So when people talk about robots or nanotechnology, it's like an acceleration of it
Yeah.
so that it becomes discernible to us from this scale.
And this is funny because it's
That already exists.
When McKenna talks about his DMT experience, he calls them self-transforming machine elves. So it's
Yes!
almost as though
Yes!
he's come in contact with a future version of what these androids are going to be.
100%.
Well,
Well,
just stop if you think if
will
you
be.
accelerated life. I mean, time
Right,
is all.
right.
It's all our perspective. Because if you accelerated our life, human life, the experience of humanity,
Yeah.
but accelerated it times a billion,
Right.
and you got to see the first single cell become multicellular, and on and on and on, cities rise, and
Right.
people fly, and then the Earth crash again. You would get to see it all in
Yeah.
like some sort of a psychedelic trip that only takes 3 minutes.
Right.
And you would see the Earth form out of the cosmos.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Oh, yeah.
That's psychedelic. I mean, that might as well
Yes.
be a mushroom trip.
100%. I mean, if you could
Absolutely.
like
It's
literally
just a
time
perspective
lapse
thing.
that,
It's a
right.
time
It's
thing.
all perspective. Like even when you see time lapse of trees growing, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like you see the tree and it aims towards the sun.
Yeah.
The plants like
Yeah.
aim towards the
Yeah,
sun.
that's
The
very
flowers
moving.
blossom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's almost like agency itself,
Yeah.
which is that what they call it, the life force. That there's
Yeah.
agency. Even plants seem to have it through time lapse. Like you see agency, intent. Like it wants
Yeah.
to go towards
Oh,
something.
right.
And what does that
That's
say?
cool.
And Kevin Kelly, okay, the trippy co-founder of Wired, in his book What Technology Wants, he calls technology the technium. He says it's the seventh kingdom of life, and that it also has wants and needs. And he says that if we were able to zoom out and
Batteries.
remove ourselves from being the co-participants in creating technology, it would actually look like the technology itself is self-assembling and has a direction, like the
Yes.
time-lapsing of plants, which is crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when McKenna was tripping out and he starts talking about singularities,
Yes.
hello, hear the echo with Kurzweil and McKenna. So
Sure.
McKenna's tripping on DMT and talking about singularities. He's talking about universes that engender novelty, universes that allow the sprouting of new possibility. It's the same thing that Kevin Kelly's writing about in his technology book. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
see like the respected technologists writing these books about what's happening. You know, even Eric Schmidt, The Age of Augmented Humanity, and Google. Google represents the literalization of the psychedelic dream, you know, the literalization of the idea that we are expanding our minds with these technologies, whether they be chemical technologies or whether they be these external technologies.
And what you're saying, this is why it's hilarious when you hear people start railing against it's unnatural.
Completely.
We shouldn't do it.
Yeah,
because
what?
what you're saying is like, no, actually, there appears to be some form of transcendent,
Yes.
invisible architecture
Yes.
that all things grow upon in a
Yes.
similar way, whether
100%.
it's plants, technology, humans. It just stretches on this invisible framework and reveals what's
100%.
hidden and underneath all things, which seems to be this ever-perfecting,
Absolutely.
ever-complexifying, harmonious expression.
That's right. And Pierre de Chardin, who was a famous Jesuit
Love
priest,
him.
called it the Omega Point. He called it the Omega Point. He got pushed out of the church because he basically sort of divinized the idea of the singularity, and he was using the language of God, but he was talking about this move towards complexity and the phenomenon of man, and man was the point in which evolution became self-aware and started directing its own evolution. Doesn't that echo what we were talking about at
Yes.
the Futures Conference? So you see
Absolutely.
these echoes, you see these patterns that connect, you know, the whole idea of cyberdelics, right? So cybernetics and computers, and then psychedelics and, you know, chemical technologies, and they collide in what's known as cyberdelic. That all
Wow.
started in the 60s and 70s in Silicon Valley when the computer scientists were tripping on LSD
Started
and
getting
working
some
on
good
creative
shit, yeah.
problems. Yeah. Xerox PARC, Augmenting Human Intelligence. There's a book by John Markoff called What the Dormouse Says, which talks about that, where that came from. I mean, you have to think that these people were out of their minds when they were conceiving of a world in which these computers could be wirelessly sending our thoughts across time and space at the speed of light, and that we're all going to be connected and see our faces on these like machines. Like, I mean, you have to be, in a way, psychologically or metaphorically tripping to even think so far outside the box. So it's
That's
not.
why like Da Vinci was so fascinating.
Yeah,
Like,
inventing
and a lot of
helicopter.
the stuff that he came up with, it really didn't come to fruition in that form. But you could see that he was like thinking of these concepts like
roots of
way
it.
ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
He was just really like what a fascinating guy that must have been.
Oh, completely.
Envisioning the future, knowing that he's just stuck with these fucking
Do you think he
apes.
could have any regular conversation with anybody?
I doubt
Do you
it.
think he could walk along and pretend that he cared about what happened at the Coliseum last night?
Did you hear about the potatoes are tainted? The potatoes are no good. We're going to riot.
We can fly!
Well, he's drawing a fucking helicopter in his backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine?
That's so far ahead of the curve. It's just but it stands to reason that some people are born with bigger dicks and other people have larger ears.
Yeah.
Some people just have a part of the brain or
Yeah.
the ability to tune into creativity.
Who was
Yeah.
Da Vinci's teacher?
Well, it sounds like, I mean, was
Yeah,
he was
good
he
question,
was he a
right?
wealthy guy? Like, did he come from a background where he had
must
time
have.
time
I
for
do not
leisure?
know. I do not know any of the history.
he
of
must
Da
have.
Vinci.
He didn't make any money at these things.
Well,
You
here's
don't
the
think
thing.
so?
No, I was reading an article today that said, you know, even though human beings evolved about 200,000 years ago, the first art, the first signs of like religion or, you know, contemplative thinking didn't appear until the cave paintings that are like 70,000 years old. So if we've had the same brains for 200,000 years, but you didn't see the beginning of humanness or imagination until about 70,000 years ago, why did it take so long if we've had
Yeah.
the same
Yeah,
brains?
well-
And
Well,
the
there's
idea is
also-
that it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Those first 100,000 years, we didn't even have enough food. We didn't have like any kind of
right.
organized society. It was only when we could afford the leisure time that all this other
It's
stuff
like
started
paying back a loan. You mostly pay interest at first, and then 1 cent on the
Powerful
on the,
Jew logic.
Well, that's what it is. And then eventually you're paying like only 2 cents of
Jew
interest,
singularity.
and the rest is 7. Yeah, so you get it all. So like they took 99% of their time just dealing with staying alive.
Yeah, just
Singularity.
dealing with staying alive.
1% to get
Right.
to wherever they were
It's
going.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it's like as a
Wow.
collective human society, at some point we were able to. We had enough hunters and we had enough organization, maybe that we could feed ourselves, and there was the beginning of free time,
Yeah.
the beginning of eating psychedelic chemicals
Right.
and making cave paintings and
Well, stop
shamanic
and-
dances and all
Free
of that.
time. Whoever
Think
rented
about-
free time is my god.
Think about countries today,
Right.
civilizations today that are living like that. Have you heard about these people in India? There's an island, an uncontacted island off of India. And recently, within the last few years, these fishermen inadvertently got drunk on their boat and drifted into the shore, and these people killed them. They killed them, and then the authorities were trying to figure out how to get to the bodies without getting shot at by these people and having to kill them, because there's not that many left. There's maybe like 40 or 50. And they have no contact with other human beings.
Wow.
They are barbarians.
Wow.
They're total 100% complete savages that are living off the land, fishing with homemade nets
Yeah,
made
and how
with
do you
twine.
put them under? You're just like they're controlling themselves. Who are you to like put them under your thumb?
Yeah, well, it's not only that. They won't even go in there to retaliate against murder, which is fascinating to me. It's like the anthropologists are so concerned with keeping this intact and studying the civilization in some sort of a way to try to. I mean, there's
Really,
not
they were
that
attacked.
many
They're
left.
almost like their own country, and they were attacked.
Well, no.
Some foreign
boat
person came
washed
on.
aboard, and they just killed the guy. They didn't even talk to him first. You know, I mean, he might have been a respected member of the community within 6 months. You know, they didn't even give him a chance.
Hello, can you help me out? My rudder seems broken.
And there's tales of cannibalism, but it's hard to substantiate. But it's not outside the realm of possibility. So you might be dealing with cannibals that we allow to kill people because they're so primitive that we don't want to fuck up what they've got. Because there's only like 40 of them.
Why do we want to preserve that?
Isn't that interesting? Because there is a
fascinating.
sentimental instinct in humanity that wants to preserve
Everything.
everything. All the
a
old
hamburger place goes under. Everyone cries.
Yeah, it's like an instinct that people want to do that, and a lot of people say that's like that's part of our humanity is keeping intact cultures and religions and keeping intact all these ideas because you can see that with this thing that's emerging is so much bigger than some old desert religion. And the bigger it gets and the more this thing emerges, the more its light begins to shine so brightly that all these silly little superstitious ideas begin to seem increasingly ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, our consciousness is becoming so expanded that it's almost like, we're able to, like, all of a sudden turn around and see ourselves. And I know that sounds almost like it's impossible shape, but, like, the first time that we can actually do that and we can see ourselves sort of out of context, just like in 1969 when astronauts first took a picture of the Earth from the vantage point of space. I mean, that's literally like the human mind was folding in on itself, because how is it possible for a human brain that emerged from the Earth to then see the Earth not from the Earth?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
How
It's like
about
the Earth looking at itself. Like, that's what was happening, because we are like a seed of the planet, and then we left the planet and turned around and took a picture.
How about the mind fucks of the shots from the Voyager from orbit?
Oh, yeah.
Where you see Earth as like a
pale blue dot.
tiny little dot.
Have you
And
seen
go,
Sagan's
oh my
film?
God.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing.
Spectacular.
They sent something out there, and it's still taking pictures of us. And it's so fucking far away that we're like a little tiny dot. And then you get a sense of what this thing really is.
Yeah.
We're nothing
It's like-
compared to all of it.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
It's insanity. It doesn't even.
How do you
doesn't
reconcile
even
yourself,
compute.
though, to that? Like, think about the average person. How do you accommodate to yourself to the idea that everything you know, the vast expanse, the repository of experience of your entire life, is a blink of a blink of a blink on a grain of a grain of a grain of a grain? Like,
Well, instead of turning
have
it that
fun.
way, I mean,
have
here,
fun.
Yeah,
listen,
that's it. It's like
let's-
you don't matter at all. Why not
Yeah.
just enjoy yourself?
Well, you do matter, though. That's not true
But you
either.
want it to mean
it's
something.
Not, it's
You
not
need a
that, but
narrative.
it does.
Yeah,
but
I
it
wanna
does.
fly.
No, it does. It does mean something. It means something to you right now. It's tangible. It's real. It means something to the people that you're in contact with. There's nothing unreal or unnatural about it because it's temporary.
but
It's
do you,
all-
do you have attachments, or you don't have attachments?
Well, you do. It's natural, but there's this connection that you have to this greater, gigantic thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't negate the small moments in your life.
Right.
It doesn't
Oh, right. I
negate
see what
video
you're saying.
games that you enjoy. It doesn't
Right.
negate finding like the perfect porn to jerk off to.
Right.
It doesn't negate
That's
a
what I'm saying,
sandwich
just
that you
have
enjoy.
fun.
Yes.
Just
Oh, yeah.
give yourself happiness until you're gone, and
But
no
it
one
does.
will remember you.
But I don't agree that it doesn't matter, because it does matter. It matters to you right now.
Yeah.
And although that
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
ridiculous,
Insignificant.
Yeah.
so does life itself. So does every breath you take. Well, hold your breath, stupid.
Yeah.
You don't think that breathing's important? Hold your breath. Of course it's important.
Yeah.
Don't be silly.
Yeah.
You're like this. The existential ideas can overwhelm the reality of the situation. And the
Yeah.
reality of the situation is, you would like to stay alive, and for the most part, it's fun.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and if it's not fun, you've managed your life incorrectly.
But you know what's interesting about what you just said is that you've eloquently stated something that's actually very difficult for most people to experience. Most people either have to be half asleep, which means ignore the overwhelming universe and just be barely present, and then other people are awake to this overwhelming universe.
You know,
and it
Brian's right
causes
here,
them
and he can
panic.
hear you.
Hey.
You know, you're talking about him like he's not here.
He's jabbing at Red Band.
No, we're not. We're just bringing him into the conversation.
No, but it's like Albert Camus, the existentialist, said life should be lived to
Stranger.
the point of tears, right? And
Yeah.
he'd say everything has been figured out except how to live. And this is the
I heard
question.
that was dude was into onions and hot sauce. He was just a freak like that.
Oh yeah.
Camus?
Yeah, it was a big misunderstanding.
You
He
know
was
how
an
he-
onions and hot sauce aficionado, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Oh, he's just like really deep."
You know how he
Just has to
died? You know how he died? He had a train ticket that he was going to take a train to get to his destination. His friends were like, "No, let us drive you."
And they got in an accident.
Yeah, it was like a
Jesus
a terrible
Christ.
decision. But go on with your Camus quote because I love
Yeah,
it.
well,
My mother
no, but
died
I think that
yesterday. It might have
it-
been the day before. I can't remember.
it's like
What's that, Ari?
My mother died yesterday, or it might have been the day before. I can't remember.
Camus quote.
oh yeah,
the
I
opening line of
remember
The Stranger.
that. Yeah,
Just disconnected.
completely.
like,
I remember reading it and I found it really depressing. Well, I guess my whole question is, okay, so in the face of an infinite universe, with our minds we can ponder something close to the infinite, yet the irony is that we're housed in these heart-pumping, breath-gasping, decaying bodies. You know, Ernest
Yes.
Becker, who wrote The Denial of Death, says we are gods with anuses. Think of how brilliant that is. So the idea that we are these transcendent beings, but every single day we are reminded that we have metabolism.
It's funny that
entropy.
Becker thinks that God doesn't have an anus. How does
What
he
an
know?
asshole. What an asshole to
funny.
be so presumptuous.
But
The
still,
guy's a
how
dick.
do you reconcile? You know, as the only species that can really like lose sleep over the fact that we are mortal beings. You know, we can barely sustain the here and now because we know that one day we might be
Yeah.
dead. And so, what do? Do we just lose ourselves in diversions and sex and drugs?
Well, here's
Yes.
my problem with this whole line of
we
thinking.
know we're gonna be dead.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with this whole line of thinking.
Yeah.
What does the average person do? What does the average person do?
Work.
How about turn the question inward and say, what do you do? And tell everybody what you do, because that's how we figure it out. Through you telling me how you're managing it, I tell you. But when you start going, what does the average person do? Well, the reality is we're all the average
We're all
person.
different.
Yes.
yeah.
We're all the average person.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
average person varies
In our
radically.
insignificance, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. In our significance, we are all the
Might
average
stand out
person,
today.
100%. Yeah, when someone says that all men are created equal, not really, but yes.
yeah.
Not really in this experience, but yes. You know, there's
Yeah.
Einsteins, there's Stephen
Yeah.
Hawkings, there's
Yeah.
fucking Lou Ferrigno's. There's a lot of weird people in this world.
But I think there's a responsibility as technology emerges and science begins to show us the truth of reality. These responsibilities begin to emerge that create ethical dilemmas for societies, which is when you have large swaths of the human population being controlled by tyrannical, fundamentalist religious people who are basing everything they do on a phantasmal being that clearly doesn't exist and outdated rituals that are just
They
rotting.
made Galileo apologize.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you do? Because in those situations, at some point, it's like, well, you do have a right. You obviously there's freedom of religion. You want to give people freedom of religion, but simultaneously, it's like, well, but why are you cutting girls' clitorises off?
I
Like,
completely
you know what I
agree.
mean?
Well,
Like,
dude,
what-
it's almost like we need an upgrade. You know, like
Yeah.
religion was a technology that at least informed people with the illusion of meaning, so that they could, you know. As they say, you can live for a week without food, 3 days without water, but not a minute without hope. You know, like
Right.
so that gave us hope. And Ernest Becker says that was the
I
first
could
solution.
hang on for a minute.
Yeah, that was the first.
Whoever
solution.
said that never ate a pot brownie because there's fucking hours with no hope.
Yeah.
And you get through it. You get through that shit.
We'll
Get
deal
through
with
it,
it.
and you learn.
That's
you
well
learn
put.
when you hit the other side.
You learn when you hit the other side. Well, that's interesting. Well, we talked about ayahuasca and DMT, which as Eric Davis says, baseline reality dissolves. There is a complete ego death, and a new reality emerges.
Yes.
Or
It's
it just
pixelating
fucks
away.
with your visual cortex, and you add it all with your ego and your psyche and your
Yeah.
creativity, and you have the ability to generate images inside the mind's eye with your creativity, and you just create a fucking world of geometric patterns because that's how your eyeball works when it's
Yeah.
over flooded with too much DMT. That's how your visual cortex responds.
That's what happens.
when there's 10 times the normal dose in. Maybe that too.
Just like when you have a cut, it clots.
yeah, but
It's
you
just
know
how it responds to that.
this is what I always say when people say, "How do you know whether or not a DMT trip is real?" Like, what do you know? Like, you're pretending like that really happened. You really did speak with intelligent beings from the planet.
Yeah.
The reality is, whether or not you really did go to another dimension and speak with these super intelligent beings who are made out of love, or whether it didn't happen at all, either way, you experience the same thing.
Right.
Sure.
You get to hear the message.
You get to see the exact same thing
Metaphors
as
made
if it was real.
Yes.
Like literally.
Well, you know where that was explored brilliantly? Do you guys remember the movie Contact?
Yes.
Yes.
Based on the Carl Sagan book. So she is a secular scientist.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to hang out with Matthew McConaughey,
people.
who's a priest. She doesn't believe in God. In fact, at first they try not to let her
Oh,
go.
see, that's how
But no, but
brilliant of
the
the
end-
Matthew McConaughey cock. Because even though she didn't want any of that, he still fucked her.
Yeah, he did.
Boom, son.
That's right.
She
But
risked
think of what
pregnancy.
happened at the end of the movie. She went right through the
Yeah.
wormhole and went to saw these alien civilizations, had an experience that sounded like a religious experience, except it was a
She didn't
scientific
go anywhere,
encounter with the
though,
alien.
right?
Well, from the perspective of Earth, through the wormhole, it just looked like the ship just ran right through.
Right.
So nobody believed her, but she had the experience. So all of a sudden, she was sounding like the
yeah.
religious people or like the people that were tripping that said they saw the elves.
Right.
And all of a sudden, she, as the scientist, had to cast doubt on her own experience because she
Yeah, but
saw
like,
the evidence.
But
that
like
was
when
against
you
it.
try DMT, you know already what that is. It doesn't just hit you. You're like, what the fuck? And your mind just explodes. You know you're
Right.
taking something, so you can make reason of it. I could totally see like, well, what was it? That must be God. And let me tell other people about this.
Well, you know,
I can
that's
totally
what-
see that
there's
as a way to
scholars
start it.
in Jerusalem, legitimate scholars now, that believe that that's what Moses saw when he saw the burning bush.
What?
That he saw the acacia tree. The acacia tree, which is rich in DMT, and it's really common to that area.
Oh,
That
really?
makes a
The
lot
idea
of sense.
is that this bush, or the extraction of this bush, was burning, and that's how he had this religious experience.
Yeah.
He saw God.
It's real
He
dry
had
there.
a DMT trip. And this is like this
That
is
makes
not.
a lot
They
of
caught a
sense.
puff of this tree like on fire.
That's one of the theories.
Wow, I could
but
see that.
That's just a theory.
Yeah.
But the primary focus of achieving this theory is that Moses most likely had a psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
Because we know that these substances are not new.
And plus, he
Right.
said he got the tablets
Yeah.
that God gave him, but he smashed them before he got on the hill. he was mad because they made the golden cow. He smashed. Nobody ever saw the fucking tablets.
Yeah, he was tripping.
Yeah.
his
And
dick
that
off.
researcher does
True.
a lot of mushrooms.
You know,
Yeah.
he could have been
Well,
like, "Yeah,
so
I don't know, I smashed him."
All the above.
Destroy the evidence.
Yeah,
all the
Or
above.
destroy
one
the
saw that.
non-evidence.
Well, but
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody
but
talking
that's-
about it's high.
But that's very similar to when Terence McKenna talks about the stoned ape hypothesis, obviously. But there's a guy called Rich Doyle. He wrote a book called Darwin's Pharmacy, and it's about sex, plants, and the evolution of the noosphere. And he talks about psychedelic substances as information technologies that manipulate our ability to capture and manage attention. So they create what he calls infinite resonance with set and setting. So
Say
in
that
other
again,
words,
say it again.
Infinite resonance with set and setting. That's why when people talk about like psychedelic experiences, they like make sure you're in a good headspace, make sure you're in a
Yes.
good set and setting. Because if you have infinite resonance with set and setting,
What's
it means
resonant?
that resonance, like you become completely porous to whatever is
Ari's
around
like,
you.
this
whatever you're thinking.
motherfucker's talking mumbo jumbo.
No, I'm hearing it, but I want
don't-
to get on the
you don't you no longer have
I
the
follow
ability.
it.
It's like turning up the volume on existence.
Okay.
Turning up the volume so loud that if you're in a magnificent place looking at a tree, you might think you're looking at God. If you're in an uncomfortable situation, you're going to go down to the pits
It means
of hell.
you know that thing when a microphone
No, I
gets
get it.
too loud and you get
Yes.
feedback?
Yes.
If you're in a shitty place tripping, you
Yeah.
can get a feedback.
Infinite feedback just
Yeah.
keeps going.
Or you could be in a beautiful place that it elicits feelings of calm and sereneness, and then you can feel like you're
Like infinite
being licked by
orgasm.
God.
Yeah.
Happy Shroom Fest, by
That's
the way,
going to be
everybody.
the real Happy Shroom Fest. That's going to be the real problem when people are able to decide what state of consciousness they experience at that moment. Not even earn it by being so scared that you take mushrooms. Because every time I've taken mushrooms, I've been scared.
You should be. You're about to go through some change.
Yeah,
It
I
should
get
scare
scared
you.
when I eat a pot
You'll
cookie.
lose control.
When I eat the last crumb of a pot cookie, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, you got to deal with
You
this.
have that
Yeah.
moment.
Start tapping my
Yes.
feet. Going,
Lose control. How bad is this
"Motherfucker."
gonna
What
get?
did I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Now,
No,
is that why? Is that because it's like if you think of the metaphor of skydiving, it's the moment where you've already jumped, and you're just like, I don't know what it's
I
going to be
honestly
like.
think that there's an accelerating process of self-development that we all go through.
Yeah.
And that if we are not improving as a human being, we feel shitty.
Yeah.
We don't feel good. I
Yeah.
don't feel good unless I'm getting my shit together. That's just a fact. I try to be a better person today than I was yesterday for
Yeah.
real. And it sounds stupid, but it's because everybody says it, and very few people like legitimately totally practice it. They fall in and out. But I feel like that's also one of the reasons why people aren't that happy. I feel like if you're not like improving yourself and getting rid of your bullshit
Yeah.
in life,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to feel good. It's
Right.
very difficult to be enjoying it if you have all these issues that you're not dealing with.
Right.
Like about you as a person, or you with your job, or you
I
know.
hear more and more people talking about it when they say like, and I know I've been bad at that, and I'm actually trying to make a note to not be like that anymore.
They might be telling the truth. I mean, it's not a process where, you either get it right or you don't get it right.
Yeah.
Like some people fall back and forth. I mean, how many people do we know that used to drink and then drank again, then stopped drinking for a long time? And then, it's like a little battle sometimes with people to try to improve their shit.
Ram Dass compares it to floating in the ocean and your head's bobbing up and down. Sometimes you see the shore and sometimes you don't. That's what it's like. It's like sometimes you're there and you see it, sometimes, but you can't beat yourself up when you go down. You have to have faith that you'll come back up again.
That.
But what you're saying is dead on, man, because if I'm feeling like shit, what you're saying, it's not some broad, big thing you've got to do. If I'm feeling like shit, 9 times out of 10, it's just because I've got dishes in the sink, or I didn't go jogging, or I didn't like sweep my kitchen. It's not like
that,
big.
But that would be like an example of set and setting right there.
Right.
You know, other people say that 99% of your problems will go away if you get a good night's sleep. Like in terms
Wow.
of
A lot of them do.
emotionally,
I think
we're-
because
we're-
sometimes, even when you're sleeping, you're thinking about things and you put them into perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times you've been really upset when you go to bed, and by the time the night is over, you're like, whatever.
Oh, right. You let it go. Sleep
Yeah.
on it.
Well, it has to do
Sleep
with
on it.
Like a
regulating your emotions.
A
And when
gig
don't
you lost
sleep-
or something, something that happened. Like,
And you
I'm
can do
sure
it. So it's
you've
so much
had a
better to go
few.
to bed before you make the phone call to
Talk to you
whoever.
about this because you've had a few instances where, like the Amazing Racist stuff, like lost you gigs.
Yeah,
or
I
a
just had to
tweet.
get a thing canceled in London, Ontario.
That's right.
Yeah.
Somebody, yeah.
Now that's got to be frustrating as
So
fuck. Like,
frustrating.
how do you let go of that? Like when you're dealing with something like that, how do you let go of that?
Well, sometimes you say, I stop myself. I go, stop, hold on. Can griping about this change it in any way? No. All right, move on.
So it's like
Next.
a little moment of dialogue with yourself and a decision.
Yeah,
to
if I'm
respond to
in a long line at the airport and I'm gonna miss my flight, I'm like, oh come on! I keep looking up ahead. I'm like, are you gonna go to the front and say I'm about to miss my flight, or are you not? If you're not,
Are
then
you-
stop griping. Then
Yeah.
just let it wash
very
over you.
interesting. I have a friend who's starting a company. He wants to create a watch that regulates emotion because people talk about like creating. If we talk about the age of the quantified self, where we're going to have all these devices that
A
are going
watch
to be
that what emotions?
that measures emotion.
Oh,
Ew,
really?
Then you
So
have
you tell
everybody
you're
know
angry?
if you're annoyed.
Well, it's not going to tell other people. It'll tell you. So
You get to set the code.
It'll measure your biofeedback rhythms, and it'll give you feedback to tell you how you're feeling, so that then you can change your behavior if that's what needs to be done. Feedback loop seems to be the best way to reprogram reflex responses. Like they're saying that the best way to stop people from doing speeding is not from like actually pulling them over, but it's from those sensors that say your speed
Right.
and
Oh, right.
tell you
That's
that
cool,
as you
man.
pass them by.
Yeah.
So receiving feedback is the best way to change behavior.
Yeah.
So in terms of like moving towards experience design and the age of the quantified self is if you know you're eating something unhealthy, maybe you won't eat it. If you're constantly reminded
No,
about how
that's
you're
cool,
feeling
man.
and what
You're-
you're doing, you can really kind of improve yourself. And it goes
That's
back to the
why-
whole thing of like
Technologically enhanced mindfulness is what
Yes.
that is, because it's
Well,
like
that's brilliantly put.
how often are you wandering around in a state of absolute terror, pretending everything's fine?
Yeah.
I'm totally fine, having a great day,
Yeah.
but inside you're like, oh fuck, man,
Right.
if I don't make enough money, I'm not going to make rent.
yeah.
But you're pretending to be happy.
how you
So
doing?
if you have a watch that's that's flashing,
yeah.
like you're terrified.
you are
You're
tense right now.
terrified.
You are tense right
is-
now.
Deal with it.
Talk about it. Deal with it.
One
Yeah.
of the most important things that anybody could ever understand in this life is what happens and what it feels like when you're out of debt. You know, because how many of us,
Hangs
by
over
the
your head all
time
the
we're
time.
20, whatever the fuck we are, we have so much money that we can't pay off. Credit cards,
Yes.
student
I
loans.
just last week paid off my college loans.
Oh,
Congratulations.
39.
isn't that crazy? What a crazy society we have. That like everybody by the time they're 30 years old is in some kind of debt unless
Slavery.
you're super rich.
Slavery.
a lot of education debt, right?
A
Yes.
lot of
Yeah.
education
But
debt.
that's going to
Medical
change. That's
debt.
going to change with
medical
technology.
school debt is insane.
Not
Yeah, 'cause you
medical
could just-
school,
a lot of-
medical debt.
That too.
Well,
That's
those
Oh,
are,
yeah.
those
Sure.
are, I think
That
those
too.
are those are two systems that definitely need an upgrade. I mean,
Fuck
that's the
yes.
thing, and this is where we can actually connect that to the ideas that Ray Kurzweil's talking about. He's saying that healthcare is about to undergo the same transformation that information technology went through. So that means that the whole idea of how people, cure themselves or fix diseases, this is all going to become like something that's a part of our smartphone and part of our day-to-day life. So it's going to change that broken system of healthcare
Oh,
and education.
totally
Also,
recreate it.
education through the internet, free education, people around the world coming online,
There's-
joining the global conversation, getting free education.
There's
So
a
hopefully-
Harvard
yeah.
professor who's just
Yeah.
offering all his classes online.
Yeah,
It's like, go
exactly.
ahead, take it.
Yeah, it's only the beginning of that, and you have the power of decentralized peer networks that can be leveraged to solve all these problems.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Decentralized peer network.
It's the same thing that we talk about self-organization and emergence when like cells link up together and become
Yes.
organisms. So
So like
you have
Facebook,
you
you
have
mean?
electronic self-organization happening like with social media, like when spontaneous
Okay.
when there's leaderless protests that just
Right.
spontaneously self-organize.
Sure.
And these technologies allow these decentralized peer networks that
Cool.
don't have leaders and don't have a head that
Anonymous.
you can cut off. Potentially something like that. But so Stephen Johnson's book Future Perfect talks about how those can be leveraged to like solve problems, like cure diseases, like leverage like
How what?
collective
This
intelligence.
decentralized peer
Yeah,
peer networks can be
decentralized
used.
peer networks.
By the
yeah.
way, I love that term because I think one of the big fucking problems is the need that people have to claim responsibility for innovation. And this is one of the horrors of our age, is that thing which makes people get rich is what motivates people. People aren't motivated. Like when people are trying to cure cancer, you like to believe that the reason they're trying to cure cancer is out of some kind of altruistic desire, until you see them going to the Supreme Court to try to patent genes because they want to profit off of their research.
Yeah.
That's pretty weird, right? It seems like the idea should be the dreamy.
I know, but that's why
hippie
Pfizer is giving the researchers the money to research, is so that eventually they'll be able to show return on that investment.
Right. It's just a strange.
Yeah, it is strange.
It's
You're right.
very
strange.
strange.
Wait,
And you know what the real problem with all of it is? That it's not psychedelic. That's the real problem, is that you can make money and create things, but you have to have a psychedelic mindset in order for society to move forward, like emotionally
Right.
Sort of, they put it all behind.
and friendship-wise. Like if it's not doing that, then it's going to get caught up in the ones and zeros, collecting the numbers. It can be prosperous and still be ethical. It's not. And the reason why it's not is because when you have a corporation, like you get that diffusion of responsibility thing going on, which is the opposite of what's psychedelic.
Yes, absolutely, exactly, man.
It's where the individual has no responsibility for the mass of individuals, whereas the psychedelic experience is
connected to
the
all
mass of
individuals.
is connected entirely.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
well put.
I'm going
Right.
to Joshua Tree on Sunday.
Dude, tell me what you're going to do there, son.
Let me guess. I think you're probably gonna do your taxes.
No, I'm not going to do my
Are
taxes.
you
I'm
gonna
going
get
to
your
do
freak-
mushrooms under the
freak-
supermoon.
Get your freak on.
Is there a supermoon on Sunday?
Sunday night, middle of
Let me
Shroomfest.
tell you something, son. When you do
That's
mushrooms,
cool.
it's always
Yeah.
supermoon. There's no non-supermoon. When you do mushrooms and you realize that there is a fucking planet 1/4 of the size of ours, and it's literally floating above our heads.
Yeah, it's,
Are you
we're
doing
holding
tent?
it.
floating.
What?
Are you doing tent, hotel room?
No, tent.
Tent.
Out in Joshua. Yeah, I've never been there too. It should be cool.
Duncan, what are you getting, buddy?
Getting beer for you and me.
Yeah, all right. That's what
Ari,
I'm talking
anybody
about.
else?
I'll have one.
Beer?
Try one of these Black Butte Porters. They're delish.
Yeah.
Delicious. Ari
I
Shaffir.
tried drinking with a 23-year-old recently. Those people are straight out of college. They're in training.
Damn.
Yeah.
They bring
don't
shots
give a
around like it's
fuck.
nothing, and I'm barfing in the street, and they're still going.
They don't give a fuck.
God, I can't.
Yeah, your liver's old, son.
Yeah.
It's almost over for
Have you ever had Eric Davis on the show?
Eric Davis is.
He wrote a book called Technosis that I think you guys would love.
Yeah?
He kind of writes about the mystical undertones of technology. So again, like the whole psychedelic cybernetics thing. And I don't know. I wondered if you guys ever had him because he.
No, never heard of him.
You guys
Now
should
I know.
Check out this book. Yeah, it's very
Boom. Sounds good.
Eric
Sounds
Davis.
like perfect stuff. Right up my alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many people like that now. Thank you, sir. That's the beautiful thing about this time. It's like, every day there's some new guy who's got a new video or a new song or a new There's so many fucking pieces of something that are being created, whether
Oh,
it's
yeah.
jokes. There's more comedians now than ever. I
Just
really think
access
so.
to all of it.
Yeah.
But there's also an infinite amount of content. How do you decide what to pay attention to? That's one
It's
of the
really hard. Well, that's
get
one of the
bandwidth
things.
anxiety.
Well, that's the beauty of something like a Death Squad, where which was the stupid nickname that we all call ourselves. Like that if Ari tells you someone's funny, he's not going to be lying about it.
Right.
If
So you
Duncan
guys
tells
Tell
you
you
guys-
so many people that aren't funny that you know.
yeah.
No, but that's good. You
If
guys
Ari
are
tells me to watch some guy, I know he's really funny. So
Yeah.
the audience knows that too. And that's sort of like the beauty of having like a bunch of people that have a like-minded.
Yeah.
You tune in, and we're all different. Like there's a lot of alt people that would hate our humor. All right, and the last thing they want to do is be hanging around with us, and they're not wrong.
Yeah, they're just not into it. It's
They're
not into that
just-
style.
They
That's
have
all.
a different thing. But you find your thing, whatever it is. Whether it's Johnny Cash or Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
You fucking follow it. And then, whatever's connected
Whatever the
to
best
her.
of that.
Yeah,
those people are going to find it for you.
Yeah, I think that's how you do it in today's day and age. It's like, and that's the beauty of us being able to introduce people like Bert Kreischer or, anybody else that we brought onto our podcast. That all of a sudden other people can go, oh, that guy's really funny. Like, oh, and he's friends with this guy. Oh, that guy's really funny too. And then
Jason
it just,
Silva.
Yeah,
people
yeah.
like how many people discovered you?
Well,
This sort of stuff.
This was one of the biggest thing I ever did.
was
Come on
17.
your podcast, dude.
That's amazing.
It's been a year later, and I still get people saying like to come back and hang out with you guys and have a man jab, which has been amazing.
Well, it's a two-way street though, because the whole reason why the podcast is interesting is because people like you are interested in coming on. It's
Oh, right.
if you only had just me talking after a while, I'd be repeating stories like a motherfucker. I'd just be spouting nonsense at this point.
But you know what's interesting about what you're saying? You know, there's a book that talks about the importance of an information diet. You know, because we live in a world now where there is like an infinite amount of content out there, more than 10,000 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every hour, or some crazy number like that. And so the most difficult thing, I think, becomes deciding who are going to be your information diet filters. Like in this case, the Death Squad, the peer networks that you are connected to, the people you follow
Powerful
on
Brian
Twitter.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people trust NBC.
By the way, when is
Right,
the
but if you
they
only,
built-
Brian
if you only
Redband,
watch
when is the,
traditional media, you
new
realize how
shirt coming
limited
out?
it is.
Well, once you
Brian
realize what you're
Redband's
missing on
leaving us, everybody, so he's got to go do an Ice House show. When
New
is the
shirt
new shirt coming out?
Pre-order should be up next week, so next 2 weeks or so.
It's my favorite of all time. It's Head and Shoulders.
Let me
It's
see it.
awesome, and the other one is awesome too. But this new one is on another level. It's dope. I want it. I want a pair of underwear.
I want it.
I want a pair of underwear with that on.
Jesus Christ.
I don't give a fuck, dude. I'll wear cloth off over my dick.
Oh, nice.
Not on the podcast, Joe.
I'll let you
Is that
smell
gonna be in
them.
it too? Yeah.
Jason, what kind of car do you drive, dude?
Oh, that was the.
I don't have a car anymore.
You
'cause I'm
one
in
of
New
those
York.
motherfuckers.
I'm in New York. I
Jesus,
used to have
son.
one
In a
here.
car in New York.
You don't drive cars?
I mean, when I lived here, I had a car.
I wanted to ask you about that Tesla.
Oh, I don't
figure.
have it, yeah.
Oh my God, is that the coolest thing of
I
all
know,
time?
It's kind of incredible, and they're only going to get better. I think they're about to release like the third or fourth generation now.
I don't know.
Martine
Oh.
Rothblatt had one, and when I interviewed her and I got to meet her robot, Bina 48.
Yeah.
You ever seen that?
No.
Her spouse is a robot.
Really?
Martine Rothblatt, fascinating story. Was a man, founded Sirius Satellite Radio, got a sex change, became a woman, and then created a robot that is a direct copy, a duplicate of her spouse. And it's creepy how good
Where's
it looks.
the spouse?
Well, there. She's there, too.
Okay.
She's there as well. I mean, she just
three of
loves
them are-
her, so she made a robot for her.
That's so
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, it's
That's
interesting.
like Liberace making that guy change his face to him.
Whoa.
No,
Did
it
he really
isn't
do
like
that?
that.
Yeah,
really
he
do that?
made him get plastic surgery
Did he really
to
do
look
that?
more like Liberace.
That's hilarious. Did he really? Is that in that the HBO thing?
Yeah.
I always wondered why Matt Damon and Michael Douglas were willing to do that, and like they have pictures of those two blowing each other. That's the only thing that makes sense. Well, they agreed to do like if they came up to you and you were Matt Damon and they said, "Hey, listen, man, I know those Bourne Identity movies. They were really big and everything. Blah 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 blah. Listen, you're gonna play Liberace's butt buddy."
And
Are
best
you
of all,
down?
made for TV.
Yeah, made for TV. You're
No,
gonna play
it's on HBO.
Liberace's longtime lover.
Oh, I see. Not in the movies.
Butt Buddy's
Yeah.
very offensive, by the way, to my gay friends, and I apologize for
Butt
that.
Buddy.
It's Butt Pirate.
You guys are so immature.
It's not. I mean, if you said that a girl was your vagina pal, would that be rude?
Vagina pal.
You
No,
know-
it'd just be embarrassing.
That was
that would
great
be
when
rude,
South
but
Park
isn't
said
it
that.
interesting that a girl can call a guy a dick and there's no repercussions at all?
There
You
are
know,
to my
she
heart.
Can say, and she can even say, "I'm here
true.
to get some good Jason Silva dick," and you wouldn't have any problem with that. You'd be like, "Yep, I'm dishing it out, honey."
Yeah.
But if a guy says, "Oh, I'm here to get some Sweet Mary pussy," she'd be like, "What the fuck?
It's because they're
Really?
the gatekeepers.
That's who I am? I'm Sweet Mary pussy? You don't think that's gross?" And you're like, "Oh my God,
Interesting.
you're not really my friend. Can't even joke around with you."
Jason, what do you think's going to happen with these sex androids? What do you see as the future?
Well,
of
I think
Position-wise.
the sex technology will probably be the pioneer. I mean, just like with porn,
Yeah.
the porn industry pioneered DVDs when DVDs were first a thing. Who do you think was doing the most advanced, like multi-angle, interactive DVD experiences? It was the porn
Right.
industry. I mean,
That's
we're-
When porn, as
We
soon as they
are-
said phones wasn't going to go with that old style of video,
Yeah.
all the porn was like, cool, we'll update.
yeah, exactly.
The
I mean,
iPhone never
we're-
did. The rest of them,
Yeah.
like, yep.
Totally. I mean, we're always going to be driven by sort of our sexual desires. Kurzweil says we'll be able to tap into each other's nervous systems and become each other when we have sex with
Oh,
our
that's
girlfriends.
combining with someone.
Ew.
Like imagine actually
Yeah.
merging.
That is-
Well, but some people say, you know, the Kama Sutra talks about we've been wanting to merge with our lovers since the beginning
Sure,
of time.
I
We want to
love it.
become one. But
Two souls
imagine if we
becoming
can
one.
actually scramble our nervous systems together because
Or
we have
imagine
the
if you-
Demolition Man device or whatever. Remember
That's
that?
good. That could be a real mind fuck though. If you just find out that you are like the worst in bed ever, you
Or
feel
even
what it's
better.
like to be fucked by you.
Holy shit!
You're
Look
just
at
like,
that. That's very
"Oh,
eloquent.
Look at me. I'm this. Oh, why am I doing that?
Well, that's
Maybe
going to be
you
for
can-
16
but
to
you can
25-year-olds.
grow. You can grow from that
Your
experience.
Even
fingernails
better,
are
like,
jacked.
It would be
tell
like
them,
self-knowledge.
Take it. Even better, take it. So you don't like it, take it.
Yeah, you come up, your eyes would pop over, like, why am I choking myself? Why won't you let me breathe, me?
Or even worse, what if you get into her mind, like if you can access your girlfriend's needs and desires,
Right.
And you go, "I want to know what you want," and you get into
Dude.
her mind. It's just a a river of black cock.
Black
just a
cock.
sleepy river of disembodied black cocks just shooting sperm like a psychedelic dream. You're riding
you.
a river of dark black cocks.
It's not black cock. It's
Slippery,
pit bulls.
like
it's a river of
eels.
pit bull cocks.
Yeah, well,
Like
it's
eels.
good. It's good to allow for a lot of creativity in sort of our sexual consciousness. You know?
Yeah.
It's
On
been
the
a
side, let's get ahead
fragment
with
into
it.
a multiplicity of dimensions that we can't even imagine. It's the
And black cock, too.
psychedelicization of
Isn't it
sexuality.
amazing though that drives a lot of our technology lately,
yeah.
but we still have to repress it societally.
Sex?
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's
Still
mostly,
has to be like looked on as embarrassing.
The reproductive force. It's the drive. It's the wind in the sails of humanity. It drives
Yeah.
everything.
And people are like, oh, what's that wind?
Actually,
Like,
have you guys?
shh, don't talk about the
There's
wind.
actually like a book about this. It's called The Mating Mind. It was written by Jeffrey Miller, and he says that the brain's extraordinary capacities for creativity, for discourse, for everything we do, even build airplanes and iPhones, is ultimately our glorified version of the peacock feather. It's our version of the bird song.
Right.
It's just us
Totally.
charming to capture and manage the attention of those potential mates. It's a way of saying, I'm poetic. I built that skyscraper, or I wrote you this
So is
poem.
every joke every comedian's ever told.
Everything.
It's just to try to,
But
like,
what's interesting
yeah,
is that the,
show what we
the
can do.
side effect of this sexual creativity is also responsible for everything wonderful we've created. So it talks about the whole thing about
Right.
sexuality ultimately as a creative act.
It is.
Because it's about reproduction.
Yeah.
But ultimately on a cultural level and on a idea sex level, like the whole fucking thing about reproduction seems to be like...
Right. We
you
used
know-
to think we're getting lured by nature into making babies, but now we see we're being lured by nature into making spaceships.
create
Well, that's
novelty.
why the
Yes.
pill
Time
changed so
machine.
much in
Yes,
society too.
yes. That's
Once
why
the-
the singularity is a cosmic orgasm is the best way to describe what the singularity is. It's the universe waking up. It's us impregnating the universe
That's
with
the great
intelligence.
Marshall McLuhan quote. You know that quote? Human beings are the sex organs of the machine world.
Wow.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
Marshall McLuhan nailed that shit in the 60s.
Of the machine world, like the machines are controlling
before
us.
computers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He figured that out before computers.
He was
Wowza.
an actual genius. He also said,
Oh,
first
yeah.
we build the tools, then they build us.
Right.
Think about that.
Yeah.
It's happening. That's true.
Of course it's happening.
growing
And
through
again,
us.
much like Da Vinci, what a mind fuck it must have been to be operating like that back in the 50s.
You know what Da Vinci also did? He figured out how to draw curves, how to draw rounded edges in art. Like no one knew how to like make it like so. You can't just. It's like to go around and like loses frame. You know how like a
Really?
path will go out to
Nobody
nothing.
knew how to do that?
He was the one who. I don't know if I remember from high school. I almost
Maybe,
definitely
right?
don't.
Whatever. Let's attribute it to him
Something
anyway.
along those lines.
He was a good guy. He deserves it. He put in his hours. Good old
I
Da
love that
Vinci.
stuff though because it's like, well, what aren't we doing now? That
Oh
we
yeah,
can do?
that will have like for granted. We'll take for granted in 100 years. Like
Right.
what? What do you mean they didn't?
They didn't walk
What?
through walls.
Why didn't they?
Yeah.
True.
They walked around every time.
Yeah.
Why?
What a strange world it must have been back then, man. When you could just die if you got sick. Most
yeah.
people just died.
They thought
50%
if you got a
mortality rate
yeah.
for
Yeah.
children.
Completely, and most people, and there's a lot of people though today that think that that things are getting worse in the world, which is another one of those like mistakes that people
We're
make.
living longer than ever.
We're living longer than ever, and there's a guy called Hans Rosling who has these amazing videos on the internet that show every nation in the world by every measurable indicator of quality of life
Yeah,
has been rising
measurable.
for the last 100 years.
Uh-huh.
No, but it just shows that contrary to what the media in which it bleeds, it leads, feeds us because we have these overactive, fear-based amygdalas
Yeah.
that only pay attention to what's wrong. We fail to see everything that's going right.
Yeah.
You know what's
And
the most confusing shit? Really
Yeah.
hot newscasters telling you horrible things. Like,
That's
I am
not
so
confusing at all.
confused. She's got big tits, and I'm scared out of my
like,
mind. My dick is hard, and I'm ready to run. Like, everything is together.
Yeah.
So rude. You know, show me
Put someone
some,
ugly for
yeah,
bad
if you're gonna
news.
tell me some bad news, tell it like get my high school teachers.
And then switch them in when they
Yes.
go, and this just in a puppy found alive and healthy.
and then the big tits come out.
Yeah.
And ready to party.
Yeah.
But you could tell a lot about Bill O'Reilly. Like I promise you that Bill O'Reilly loves getting tied up. I can't say that for sure.
so?
No, say it
That's
for
a
sure. It's
guess.
okay. You
Like
can say it for
whatever
sure.
legal stuff is, I guess. But I would imagine Bill O'Reilly because he's always like on his show. It's always these like beautiful yet dominating hot girls that surround him. Like he likes to be around
Right.
these types of girls.
Oh.
He loves it. You never see the women around him on that show as being like submissive to him. They're always kind of tough.
Yeah.
Guaranteed they scrub him down.
When you think about this, do you masturbate?
Scrub them down.
What?
Do you
O'Reilly?
masturbate thinking about Bill O'Reilly?
All the time.
Do you imagine ever that you were some really fucking stupid guy like Bill O'Reilly? A smart, stupid guy? Like he's a Harvard
stupid.
graduate dummy. You know, he's one of those guys.
I'm gonna go with Jesus. What does he say? His thing
Yeah.
about Jesus? He's
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna
putting
go with
in
the
with Jesus.
I'm gonna go with the Jesus guy.
Why does the tide come in? Why does it go out?
Oh, that Dawkins interview when Dawkins, the smile on Dawkins' face is the smile of the Lord of the Rings necromancer as he's crushing just like a little imp or something. It was just
What
this
was what is he saying?
the look on his face because he's like,
Dawkins, though, for my taste, gets a little too upset.
what's that?
Dawkins.
Gets
Richard
a little too
Dawkins, you talking
upset.
about? Richard
For
Dawkins?
my
I don't know.
for my
He loses
super
his,
genius atheist, reasonable people talking to cuckoo heads.
Yeah.
I like my my atheists to be a little bit more relaxed.
Completely like.
I think it was a great reaction.
He's a little on
What
the
did, he do?
cunty side.
What did he say to him?
He shot
a
him.
little-
Dawkins has got
He's a little on the cunty
a
side.
hammer smile. O'Reilly deserves a.
Oh, for sure. Don't get me wrong, but I think that Dawkins, at his age, is such a statesman, such a well-respected.
Probably
brilliant
showing
man.
off too.
Maybe, perhaps, and maybe also he feels it's his duty to maybe to mercenary go after those guys because he is the intellectual voice for the atheists.
Right.
He's super important in that way. I just wish he would chill. And one of the things that I found out about him is
What?
no psychedelic drugs in his background.
Wow,
That's
Really?
true.
And he talked about how he maybe would be interested in taking LSD under a very clinical setting to explore the merits of the drug.
Yeah.
You know what that says to me? That's where the hole is. That's where the hole's in his game. That's why he comes off cunty.
Well, it's interesting because another one of our atheists,
What are you waiting for, man? What are you
intellectuals,
waiting for?
Sam Harris,
Yes.
has done psychedelics. In fact, he wrote an essay
Allegedly.
called "Psychedelics and the Meaning of Life,"
Yes.
which was actually a very brilliant piece. And for he's an interesting guy because he's an atheist, but he has some radical insights about spiritual, subjective experience and where
Well, he
things
gets
that come
lumped
from.
in with Islamophobes.
Really?
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't find that his writing comes across that way.
A lot of people argued that it does. He's a brilliant man and a friend. I really like the guy very much.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy talking to him because he's got such a fucking stupid, smart mind.
Yeah.
His brain is just like firing like at a
Brilliant.
million hertz.
Oh yeah.
But the thing about the label of Islamophobe is like the reality is all ideologies that force people into doing violent things are crazy. And to try to
100%.
pretend that they're not to make some people who aren't violent happy
Yeah, I agree.
seems like intellectually dishonest. And that's where the
Completely.
guy
Just the
has
ideology,
he
yeah.
has courage. It's
Of
not
course
that
he
he's
has
an
courage.
Islamophobe.
Not at all. He
If
says some-
Islam was Buddhism,
Yeah.
okay, think about Buddhism. And
Right.
by the way, there's a radical new sect of Buddhism apparently that's like involved in like ethnic cleansing and some kind
Oh
of crazy
yeah.
shit. I was reading about it
I
online.
know what you're talking about.
Oh, they're fucking up Buddhism. Like it's the last safe place after being a Mormon. Go to last
Buddhists
safe
get angry.
cult.
Yeah.
But I mean, apparently, but it's-
Malaysia? Where is
humans are imperfect, man. I think it's something like that. I don't really remember where it was, but humans are so imperfect, And the idea that there's anything wrong with saying that ancient ideologies that involve killing people if they don't believe are fucking bad.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
it's true.
doesn't it say that somewhere?
Yeah, we have
Of course.
freedom
Well,
of
you can't be tolerant of intolerance. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
problem with moral relativism
Yeah.
and with
Yes.
this fear of like passing any kind of judgment because
Exactly.
it's a different religion. So what if they beat each other to death?
Yeah,
or
but it's
they
like you want
beat
to be
their wives
like,
to
do
death?
whatever you want, but don't let someone do something against someone's will to
Well,
them.
100%.
Yes.
You can't tolerate
Yeah.
intolerance, and
Yes.
behavior like that obviously is intolerance. That's where the buck stops. Bill Maher has spoken
Yeah,
about
you
this
can't
a lot.
sacrifice
You know
That's
what's
someone.
weird though? Here's
Yeah.
what's weird.
Bill
You
Maher?
said Bill Maher. Bill Maher gets labeled as an Islamophobe, which I find fascinating because progressives, for some reason, it's almost like they're bullied, so they want to make friends with the bully.
Yeah.
So there's this weird progressive thing where you don't criticize Islam, and if you do, you become an Islamophobe. Or if someone is criticizing other religions, that's the first thing that they say. Oh, you never
Judaism.
criticize Islam.
S-
How
yeah.
come you never say shit about Islam?
Yeah.
So it becomes this weird sort
very
of
weird.
polar because they're so gangster.
Yeah.
They'll kill you if you draw pictures of Muhammad. Like
Right.
they take shit to the next level. So the natural inclination of the biggest pussies on earth, which are the liberals for the most part,
Let them do it.
they not only let them do it but support them.
Yeah.
You're Islamophobic. Bill Maher is Islamophobe. Guess what? You should be an you believe a phobe. Whether it's UFOs or Bigfoot
Yes.
or chupacabras or Islam
Exactly.
or Joseph
Yeah, you're not,
Smith
you're not,
or
you're not a
Jesus
Christian.
Christ.
You're not
I
a
think-
Christianophobe
I
because
think-
you're against them raping little boys.
If you
completely.
believe anything that you haven't seen yourself or watched on TV, you're an idiot.
Well, this is the thing, Joe. This is the
Yeah.
thing. This is the thing you were talking about earlier when it comes to the DMT experience or the psychedelic experience. And the question is, does it matter if this is real or not? And I think it matters more than anything if it's real. We
Yeah.
must understand reality from subjective reality. We must understand, if we can, we should try to understand it. For example, who was it? I can't remember who was talking.
Only when it affects someone else.
But
I would argue.
But
I
I'm
think
saying it doesn't matter
Fringes.
because it's the same experience.
I-
The experience is not a tangible, rock solid, carbon based, touch a table experience. The experience is this spiritual, with which I fucking hate to use, but there's no other way to use it, disembodied consciousness. It's a disembodied consciousness experience. Why would that be the same as an experience that's real, that where you can touch paper?
Here's why. If you take, let's take, I can't. Where is it? People go to get healed. Lourdes, I think is what it's called.
I
The
don't know.
water
The
where
water.
you go. You
Sinai
go to
is
the,
also like that.
Yeah.
Dead Sea,
So
I mean.
I can't remember who wrote this. I think it might have been Sagan, or no, it might have been Feynman. I can't remember which one. Talking about how it's important to understand if this phenomena is real or subjective, because if it's real, then that means that we should understand what are the properties of these waters. Is it something in the land? Is it something in the air?
Right.
And if we can understand that,
The
then we
minerals.
can help the whole planet with this. In the same way, if the DMT or the psychedelic experience is taking us into a state that is non-subjective, that is external, is actually introducing us to entities or intelligences that somehow exist outside of our own
Let's
being,
extract it.
it's incredibly important to begin to communicate with them in a real way. If it
But
isn't,
They're doing research on psilocybin like that.
What is real? That's where it becomes. When you're talking about an outside of the body experience, an experience that transcends the physical flesh, it could still be real, but not be measurable. It could still be real, but you can't put it in a bucket and throw it on a scale.
It's not measurable.
It doesn't mean it's not real.
I think
it
it's
could be
something
a
that we don't-
chemical
we-
gateway.
Yeah, it could be something we don't have an instrument to measure.
Yes.
We don't have a conceptual
Yes.
framework understanding.
But
like,
it's still real if it happens. That's what my point is. The idea of the imagination, you imagine something.
Yeah.
The imagination is responsible for every fucking thing that a human has ever made.
100%.
Clothes,
Right.
this microphone that I'm talking to,
Right.
this computer that I'm on, this
Right.
clothes that I'm wearing,
Right.
the car that drove
Right.
me here. It's all
Right.
manifested out of the imagination. So
And
the
before- and
imagination is fucking real as shit.
100%. And,
Nietzsche-
and before you created those things, when you just imagined
Yeah.
them, you were conjuring up something that didn't exist.
Right.
And the fact that we then brought it into existence proves, well, it at least existed as a potentiality.
Yeah, it's
it was
right.
allowed by the laws of physics. So then it makes you wonder, what are you tapping into when you're
Yes.
having that kind of vision?
Right.
That disembodied,
Yeah.
reconceptualization of reality. When you live in a world where there's no airplanes and you think that you could build a machine that will fly over the ocean and get you to this other place, like, to imagine that, to even fantasize about it.
Yes.
If we can utter it,
Yeah.
it means that it's possible.
Gene
If we
Roddenberry
can
invented the iPad.
I mean,
Did he really?
does
What?
anybody
Yeah, they
even
had those
know
in these
how
things.
cell phones work?
Yeah, but
Like,
what
can you
did they
explain
do
to
in
me how a
those
cell
things?
phone works?
how a cell phone works?
Yeah.
Look at stuff. I don't know. They
Did
run like
they
that.
swipe?
Yeah.
They swiped?
Yeah, he did it all. Picard.
Picard
Oh,
didn't
Picard
swipe.
wasn't Roddenberry, though, was it?
Yeah, I think he did that and then died.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Well, he had a lot of success.
Yeah, he pretty.
But he
yeah.
didn't get to see the future.
He didn't get to see Deep Space Nine. You're right.
Those motherfuckers.
I just think that I think we should try.
That's what bemoaning Roddenberry's life because he never saw Deep Space Nine.
He never saw the new Battlestar Galactica, which
Woo!
fucking he's lucky. Because
so good.
That show kicked his show right in the dick.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it was
Star
bad.
Trek is
God, Battlestar is
such
good.
shit compared to Battlestar Galactica.
Oh my god!
I never watched
it.
Every problem you have, every
Greatest
time
shows
you're
of all
thinking like,
time.
oh, they're doing this is lame.
Yeah.
Within 2 seasons, it'll pay off. And be like,
Yeah.
oh,
Dude,
Wow.
Battlestar Galactica on the Sci-Fi Channel was the greatest
amazing.
sci-fi show
Oh, shit.
ever. And
Amazing.
it doesn't get
Gotta
any
watch it.
Dealt with
props.
it in a real way.
Yeah.
Real like situations. Same way Game of Thrones has whores, and
Oh,
murders.
by the way, how hot is that robot bitch? The blonde one?
In
Blonde
what
one?
show?
Oh,
Battlestar Galactica?
so the hottest.
Ridiculous.
I've-
I've take it.
Burned holes in socks.
Oh, the Cylons. The Cylons become
God.
hot chicks. That's part of the plot.
Oh, cool.
I don't want to spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the DVD series, you got to get that.
Get
shit
it
if you're a
right
sci-fi
now.
Fan.
How do you have
I was
time?
incredulous. Brian Callen told me about that. I'm like, that's gonna suck, dude. It's a remake of a show that was kind of hokey. This show is not hokey at all.
Joe,
Dukes.
in all seriousness, man, because you're like one of the busiest people I know. How do you find time to watch Battlestar Galactica and Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones? Like,
Well,
I don't see how you do
right
that.
now I don't have hardly any time. Right
But
now,
you already
I
watched
couldn't.
Battlestar.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. When I was just doing like Fear Factor in the UFC, I had way more time.
Right.
It was back in the days where Breaking Bad had just started.
Yeah.
Things were
Right.
different back then.
I
I'm trying
watched
to
most
catch
of
up on
Breaking
Breaking
Bads
Bad.
while getting tattooed.
Ah,
I watched
Wow.
like the first season
nice.
while getting my left arm done. Right arm, sorry. held my right arm.
Yeah, I'm
out,
trying to
too.
catch up on Breaking Bad. I fucking love it.
Great
It's
show.
so good. You have to catch up.
You know what's
so
better?
You can talk about it with
Homeland.
People. Homeland's pretty good.
better.
I heard that was.
better.
I
I
watched
haven't
season 1. I'm up to season 2.
Stunningly good. Stunningly good.
What do you
show.
guys think of Walking Dead?
It's awesome and sucks at
It's
the same
hokey
time.
as
Yes.
fuck sometimes.
Yep.
No shit.
Every time they resolve a conflict, it's over the way they describe their emotions.
This guy,
And now it's all done.
The guy, the spoiler alert, the bad guy, the number 1 bad guy in the 3rd season.
The
You're
mayor.
like, come on,
I'm up
dude.
to this
Governor.
part.
Like, you guys are teetering on the edge of fucking this whole thing up. You need to regroup, get together as a group of writers, do some mushrooms, and figure out where the fuck you're going.
Duncan,
from here.
you told me that they had this other writers, and then it got really emotional for a while, and then they came in and said, "Guys, everybody get the fuck out," and they hired like legit like action guys.
Here's the problem. I think the problem is TV, not the writers. It's what TV tends to do to creativity. If you read the comics are some of the most bleak, horrific things that you've ever seen, where it's
Yeah.
like every few pages is a gut punch where you're like, what the fuck? It's not like this like emotional kind of sappy thing. It's like you are existing in a world where you are going to die probably
People
by
left and
being
right.
eaten by the undead.
Yeah, that's what they always say in Apocalypse. They always
So
say,
wait, sorry. So what are you saying about that versus the world of TV? Like
I'm saying what
TV
happens
stifles it,
because
right?
TV
Makes
is
it
like,
nice.
oh, we can't make it too dark. We can't kill that character.
Well, I
Well,
don't
do you
think
think
it's
because
that.
there's
They-
an established business model and we have to keep some kind of
Yeah.
stability in the
Uh-huh.
system, and we
Yes.
don't want stuff that make you question too
They
much?
didn't,
or
they
this
didn't
is
like
agitating or too
Homicide.
much?
Homicide didn't last because they didn't have any clear-cut victories for the good
Can
guys
I?
and bad guys.
I'm going to do a spoiler.
Is that why they call it
No.
programming?
Let me do it. Not with the series, but with the comic books. Can I do a spoiler
Yes.
with
Why
the,
would you spoiler it?
the comic books?
Don't spoiler.
You just spoiler alert. Say spoiler alert.
Spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
but it's a spoiler to me, and I
You're
wanna
not gonna read the
comics someday.
comics.
How dare you? How
I
dare
know
you
you're-
pretend I don't read?
When are you going to get to
No,
them?
listen to this bastard.
Comics.
I had comics on my iPad once on a plane, and you mercilessly made fun of me for the entire flight about the fact that I had comics
But
on
you
my
know
iPad.
why? You know why I kept going?
Why?
Because you responded. I couldn't help myself. You responded. I'm like, oh, I got him dancing.
You got to play dead in front of a bear, man. You can't fight back.
All of a sudden, now I'm a bear. I always thought of myself as a twink. I guess my time has come. Yeah, you were fucking dancing.
You ever read The Road?
Can't get
That's
upset.
pretty bleak.
Oh,
Road
dude.
is a fucking. You might as well just get punched in the face. Just get kicked in the stomach
I
instead
read
of reading
that.
that.
I had to
book.
regroup for about a year.
Yes.
Also, this is what movie sent me into depression more than anything.
Which one?
Revolutionary Road.
What's that?
That's brilliant, dude.
Oh, my
that
God.
Was, with
What's that?
DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, and it's about a married couple, and it flashes back and forth between the banality of day-to-day life, like what happens after you get what you want, versus the hopes and dreams of when they first met. And then
God,
this-
it made me feel
it was
bad about it.
Well, it just didn't read about
I'm
the bushes. You know what it did?
so
It made
not
you.
into
It
that.
made you. It made you collide against frustrated ambitions and a life of having to settle and to become a stale facsimile of what you
It
once
makes you
were.
go find your dreams after that. It's
I
one way or
am
the
not-
other.
Yeah, well,
I'm
the
not
sequence is when
buying
they get
it.
excited about Paris is the best part of the
Yeah.
movie. You're just like, oh yes, they're gonna move to Paris. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be like
yeah.
a Richard Linklater film. They're gonna be in Europe. You know, it's
Cool.
gonna be so good, and then it doesn't happen.
I know. I was like, yes, it's going to be awesome for you.
Yes.
God,
By the
you
way,
really get into it.
I want to give a report. I'm going to report on what you've been looking at on the laptop during this thing. It's now gone from a series of videos of like weird vintage cars, Porsches. At one point, he was just looking at what do you call it, an accelerometer? You're just looking at like a car like the speedometer accelerating. That was like 5 minutes. You're just
Still
looking
carrying
at
the conversation.
a car speeding, and now you're looking at pool.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Duncan, but I'm crazy. And,
What are you looking at? He's
I
looking at pool
have-
cues? Is he looking at pool cues?
He's looking at
Sometimes.
people playing pool.
I have an ADD that you couldn't possibly understand. And I
There's
need,
no rhyme or rhythm to it.
I need 13 different things going on in my
It's
life
like the
at
drums
same
on War
time.
Pigs.
I
It makes no sense.
I am what I am, son.
Do you want to see a 2-minute trippy video?
Yes.
I did a new video that says we are already cyborgs. It's kind of about the stuff from the conference we were just at.
Yeah, but
Okay,
but,
but no
but
gay
let's,
stuff, right?
Let's pass that joint around before
Yeah,
we
yeah,
get
yeah,
to
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That
No gay
sucks. I
stuff
can't
either, right?
smoke
Promise?
the
No, no, no.
joint.
Well, I'll get you one. I'll get you your own. How about
Oh,
that?
thank you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we
We
live in
live in
a
the
world
future.
of abundance. Look at that, Duncan. This is
we're the
yours.
new Romans.
Ah, yes. Thanks, Joe.
Rogan Studios is the new Roman Empire for weed.
I don't give a fuck, dude. We're
Go
so
barf and come back
gangster.
for more.
Yeah, we're like vomitoriums.
Did you ever go to one of those?
a vomitorium. They
Yeah.
exist?
Well, no, they just showed the old ones in Israel,
Oh,
Jerusalem.
no.
And they show
So
you
you
where
went
you'd have to
to
go to vomit, and they come right back
Oh,
to
wait.
partying. And they left out the part about fucking kids, but that was
Vomit.
clearly
Wait, I
happening.
don't. What's a vomitorium?
You just
I
eat
never heard
and
of
party and drink, just keep going and going, and you're like, oh, I can't eat anymore. You know that moment where you like can't eat
And
anymore?
then they vomit.
You go to this room where you just get to vomit, and
What do
then
you mean
you
you get
come
to-
back.
They all
get to
play with
vomit?
each other.
It's like a urinal, but instead of peeing, you just vomit out as much as you can of the booze and the food, and you go back to drinking and eating.
Yeah, the Romans supposedly did it with feathers. That was the
Really?
Oh, they
But
stuck it
wait,
down
You
their
never heard this
throats.
before?
The vomitorium.
Kind of makes sense.
Romans wanted to party so hard that they were willing to just eat as much as they wanted to and then throw up so they could eat again.
The way Itzkov thinks of living forever, they thought of partying forever.
Right.
Well, it's also because
Wow.
mortality was at such a high level back then.
Ever-present.
Infant mortality was 50%.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
were dying left and right in sword fights. I mean,
things.
that was some crazy ass times.
Yeah.
But how much different is that? How much different?
Shit.
Emergency.
He wipes it up with free T-shirts. I love it.
That's my shirt.
Oh, is it?
That's no big deal. It's a higherprimate.com shirt. Available at higherprimate.com.
They're also great for mopping up spills.
Yeah, you can mop up booze with them.
You wash right off.
Those salt crystals are great, man. I got to get some of those.
They're cool if you want to bang yoga teachers.
What?
Like if
Salt
you had,
Yeah,
if you
nobody
had a
wants to do
house,
that.
If you had a house and it was totally set up, like you were like Satnam, come into my presence. You had an Om on the wall, and like these are beside your bed, dude. You're in, and all you need is like some quote from some really obscure Indian guy on the wall, like, oh, he's my guru.
I just have a video of Duncan playing behind the bed.
Oh, Duncan gets to start singing
My
shit.
apartment.
Oh, it's your apartment?
I'm describing his apartment to a T. I'm trying to fuck with him.
You're like, dude, why are you telling people about my stuff?
If
we had a
Duncan
rule.
could actually
Close.
sing them songs, you could sing. You have chants in your head,
Oh,
right?
my
have
God.
chance in
Yeah,
Give me one. Give me one. Give me
You know
one.
the
How
one
close is that?
the one I'm chanting right now is a great chant because it sounds exactly the way nitrous oxide sounds when you do nitrous oxide. If you chant it long enough, it's the sound of when you get super high. And so the chant is RAM, Ram. It's simple. So the chant just goes Ram, 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 Ram.
Oh, that is when you do whippets.
Ram, 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 Ram,
Yeah.
Ram.
You hear that when you do whippets?
When you do whippets,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that sound just does that.
You're hearing the Om. It's the
What you're hearing is your brain cells committing suicide
please.
by slamming
You're
into
hearing
each
your
other at
brain
high
cells
speeds.
dance. You're hearing your brain
It
cells
does-
tap
doesn't
dance
that
and joy.
give you like brain damage?
For
Whippets?
just a short amount of time.
Nitrous oxide?
I'm pretty sure nitrous
It's what
oxide
dentists
is
give
not
you.
good
It's the
for
same
you.
thing dentists
Really?
give you.
And I'm pretty sure going to the dentist is not good for you.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
But that's a simple, great chant that you could do at any time. Ram, Ram,
Yeah, but what is that
Ram,
chant that
Ram,
you do? That
Ram,
crazy one that you have memorized. That's what I'm talking about. You know that whole. Oh my god.
Oh my
I
God,
have,
Nanya,
that-
Tamaras.
You
Yeah,
have it
how's that
memorized
go?
now. That's
little
the
bit.
chant.
How's
That
it go?
goes, Om Magananya Tmarandasya Ganan Ganash Laikya Kakshurun Militamina Tasme Shri Garave Nama Shri Jatanya Mano Bistam Tapitamina Bhutale Savayam Rupakadyamayam Dadate Zavyapadintikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sja Shri Rupam Sikredata Sajanaganatham Vitam Tam Vitam Sad Shit.
Do you still do that thing when you,
That's
with the bit that
amazing.
you use that in?
I lost it. What?
So wait, what is that?
That's amazing.
That's a chant that you say at the beginning. You might pray if you were into Bhakti yoga. You would pray that prior to reading the Bhagavad Gita, and that's a prayer
Wow.
that is basically you are. The first verse is very beautiful. It goes, "I was born into the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge." Which I love that a lot. But it's like basically the idea is like when you come into contact with truth, which is what any of the sutras are. By the way, I love the Bhagavad Gita, but I've just started reading the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which are fucking great, man. They blow the Bhagavad Gita out of the water as far as I'm
You don't
concerned.
find it pretentious at all?
What?
The second thing you said? I forget it.
The-
Sorry, go ahead.
I was which part?
I don't know.
Yes,
I was joking.
I think it can seem pretentious, and I think that people can use it as a tail feather, as you mentioned, and I will fully admit that I've used it as a tail feather before, but I think in the same way that you were talking about how like reproduction kind of lures you into creating robots or advances society, in the same way I think people get drawn to philosophy for reasons that are just like, well, this will make me seem smart.
I don't
And then
think,
you can,
yeah, I don't
on the
think
one
there's
hand,
anything
but
wrong
also-
with tail feathers.
Yeah,
Really don't. you
yeah.
know? And I
Yeah.
think that
It's
people
perfectly
worry
natural.
about it in other people.
But what's crazy about this stuff is that once you get into it for weird reasons, but once you get into it, then
Like,
it
whatever, you're
starts
into it.
starts deconstructing you. It starts breaking you
Yeah.
apart because it's going to this very micro level of
Yeah.
the way that we tend to work subjectively, which is what
Well, but that subjective experience is the only thing that ultimately matters, you know, in terms of your interior world, right? I mean, you talk about truth. I think it was Werner Herzog, the documentary filmmaker, that was talking about the difference between ecstatic truth and factual truth. And he said, you know, if facts were the most interesting thing in the world, then the phone book would be the world's most interesting book.
Right.
But obviously there's this other experience that we still call truth. Maybe it's italicized or whatever it is, but it's that ecstatic truth. It's subjective truth. It's the truth of the poet. You know, a journalist may be more accurate in describing the facts of an event,
right.
but a poet may
LeBron
nevertheless
James
reveal
dug deep and
Yeah.
found the way to overcome the Spurs.
whatever it is. The poet reveals deeper truths that find no place in the other's literal grid.
well, this is the,
Werner
the-
Herzog is an interesting cat.
What's
Very
his
interesting.
deal?
Oh, I fucking love him, man. I just saw him in Spring Break. Wait, no, not Spring Breakers. What did I see him? He played a villain. No, Jack Reacher.
Yeah,
he
it was
played
so
his-
weird.
Yeah,
he
it's
was great, but wasn't it weird?
milky
Seeing him
eye.
acting?
He's got that milky eye. He's a good actor.
He's a great actor, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I love Werner Herzog, man. He's the shit.
I would really love to get him off the record to give his opinion on Grizzly Man, and
Grizzly
whether
Man.
or not
Yes.
he knew that he was making a comedy.
He knew. No, Werner Herzog knows he's making comedy because in all of his documentaries is an element of comedy.
He's
and
mocking the person that
he is smart enough to know what the person watching his movie is thinking, and he knows when he does this stuff, he knows that we are thinking this has got to be a comedy. Werner Herzog's hilarious.
If that's the case, then,
And cynical.
In that sense, then that might be Grizzly Man might be the greatest creation in all of comedy.
Yeah, real
yeah,
subtle.
it's a
brilliant.
wonderful comedy.
So subtle and so goddamn brilliantly crazy. It's wonderful. It like celebrates people and all our wackiness. And there's like a certain comfort in watching a film about a guy who's completely off the rails that's living with grizzlies.
Yeah.
Like it as we might not like it, but it makes us feel better about ourselves, man. I mean, we got a guy who's way more fucked up than us. It makes us feel better about ourselves.
But did you find him also kind of fascinating? Because I
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I thought it was
different.
actually fascinating because that's the thing about when you watch a movie. I mean, part of what happens when you're watching a movie is the same thing. They done REM on people when they done fMRI scans on people when they watch movies, and they say it's very similar to when you're dreaming. So you know, the self awareness disappears. And so
Yeah.
that's why you're able to like become the character that you identify with. They call it
Right.
the diegetic shift when you assume the viewpoint of one of the characters.
Yeah.
So you watch a film like Grizzly Man, it allows you to actually enter the consciousness, perhaps, of this person.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole thing about cinema allows us to do. That's why a film like that might be fascinating.
Say
because it's
that
like
name for the shift again.
the diegetic shift.
See, I love that term, man,
awesome.
because
Yeah.
enlightenment is
Yeah.
the ultimate shift, which is where you do the diegetic shift.
You assume the
from
viewpoint of the
yourself
whole.
to the whole. That's the
Yes.
idea. Is like we are always on the precipice
Yes.
of this final shift,
Yes.
and we're terrified to make that shift because we want to be an individual. And the idea of going backwards that one time,
Yeah.
of taking off the neurological
Yeah.
VR goggles, the
Yeah.
sociological VR goggles,
The
and
consensus trance,
Yes.
the cultural operating system.
We
the
don't
whole
wanna
thing.
do it. We don't wanna
Well, it's
do it.
terrifying.
It's
It's
too
easier to
crazy.
become another person in a movie than it is to become the whole.
Yes,
Just
You know,
you,
at least-
explaining it makes my heart race.
it's terrifying.
No, but it's the reason I did it is because I love movies a lot. Since I was a little kid, I would watch movies, and one of the coolest experiences is that you became Indiana Jones. Like for 2 hours,
Yeah.
you were
True.
Indiana Jones.
So
you were finding the
fun.
So
True.
what is happening? Like, how come sometimes you become the movie and other times you don't? And when you don't, like life sucks, right?
Right.
Like, oh, I'm watching this movie; it's not sucking me in, right? So then I wanted to
Yeah,
study
yeah,
that, and they
yeah.
say that movie watching and dreaming are strangely familiar familiar experiences, similar experiences, but apparently it has to do with your self-awareness, the lateral prefrontal cortex. The same thing that turns off when people are in flow states, when rappers are freestyling.
right.
The self-editing, the self-consciousness
Right.
disappears. And we love transcending our self-consciousness because it's the moment in which we see that there's an infinite amount of subjective experiences that we can have.
Wow.
We can be Indiana Jones. We can be, anybody we want. We're not bound by our individuated state, which as amazing as it is, it's still limited. did.
Is that lateral prefrontal cortex that you're talking about? Is that the neocortex, or is that is the neocortex?
I have no idea. It says lateral, so I imagine it's on this side.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the reason I saw this is because it was talking about it in the article about movies and you blending into the films. But also another article was talking about flow states and when they did fMRI scans on freestyle rappers versus memorized, and it was like the same thing.
But this is a terrifying thing for people. The flow state that you're talking about, if you have identified yourself with a level of suffering or with a level of control or with a level of always being the thing driving the car, then this flow state you're talking about is a form of death. You don't want to be there. A lot of people, the people who are suck in bed are the ones who are the most wanting to be in control. The people who have the most awful marijuana trips are always the control freaks.
Yeah.
It's like,
'cause they can't look down.
But think about it. The reason that movies are so good at it is because first they sit you in a really comfortable place. It's a comfortable seat. You're in the dark. The phones are off. They make sure that you are comfortable so that they can ease you in. And when the movie starts, you're still yourself. You're still fidgeting. You might have to pee. But as soon as it starts, they guide you with music.
Get lost
The
in it.
set and setting inform the direction that your consciousness is going. And before you know it, you're on a ride. Like the roller coaster has started, and all of a sudden you forget yourself.
Yes.
You are the story.
Just like mushroom trips.
And then at the end of the day, it becomes the best experience ever, right? Because when the great movie's done, you're like, wow, that was awesome. I don't know where I went, but I loved it, right? But when the movie sucks, it was a really unpleasant experience. So we love losing ourselves, but it's also what we're most terrified of.
So this is the idea that when we die, the exact same experience happens where you're like, holy shit, that was fucking amazing. I thought I was a human? Wow.
Well,
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just an extended period of dreaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the
Maybe it's a
dream
movie within a
state
movie
of
within a
8
movie.
hours becomes a
Yes.
dream state of 80 years.
That's why the movie Inception is so brilliant.
Yeah.
When
I
they
didn't
go
like
into
it.
limbo. Limbo was 80 years. Our
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
life could be
Yes.
one of those limbos, and we
Sure.
forgot that we decided to go to sleep.
Yeah.
We could be in the dream within a dream within a
Inception
dream.
didn't really lock me in. I don't know why.
You should have been more high when you saw it.
I don't know, maybe.
No,
I
I
wouldn't
know.
have
I
understood
think
it.
Inception was. I think Inception was a little like what. It was a little too refined. It was a little. You had to follow it a little too closely. It was a little
Because
too much.
he was explaining
like
it
a
to you.
Rubik's cube
I
or
like that, though.
something.
It
I'm
got me.
sure you like that. I'm sure your mind likes that. I like. It wasn't like the Matrix, which is sort of a more of a visceral thing, but it's still they're both pointing to the same idea, which is that whatever your experience of reality is may in fact just be a dream state or some kind of hallucination or an aspect of a simulation that you've become absorbed
You know,
into.
it's interesting you mentioned that because I actually brought something to read to you guys about The Matrix. So I'm going to load it up.
Oh, cool.
And it's exactly about this conversation we're having. It's almost like I thought at some point we're going to start talking about blending into movies and breaking the ego and that whole thing. So I'm
Whatever
just going
happened
to
to
load it
that
up.
lady that was suing the person that the
Made the
brothers that
Matrix.
made the Matrix? Do you remember that whole
I
thing?
thought she lost.
Did she really?
Or there was a settlement, maybe.
Are you
I thought
sure?
there was a settlement. Yeah, I think I remember that.
Settlement. Yeah, that never means anything, does it? Right? That sometimes means they want
It's
you
not
off
a
their
loss.
back.
Oh, right.
You're just bored of dealing with it.
Yeah, sometimes it's that.
It also mean like you're gonna win. How about we just stop this right now? And give you
Yeah,
80%?
sometimes it's that too. It's different things. Settlement never. Maybe she
Yeah.
had an original idea and they took it to a different place, but maybe they can trace the
They give her
origins of
50
that
bucks,
idea.
So get the fuck out of here.
Bitch.
Who is this?
There was a woman who sued the brothers
Wachowski
for
brothers.
making the Matrix.
Former Wachowski brothers, now the Wachowski
Matrix.
siblings.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like her name's
Lawsuit.
Gloria Larson.
That's lame.
Okay. let's
Gloria
find out.
Larson? You're just going from memory on that? That'd be great if you got it right.
Why won't the story about Sophia Stewart in her Matrix? No, that's not it. Matrix.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me read you this while you search for that. So this is an article by Eric Davis, and he's talking about Descartes and the Matrix and the false reality genre of filmmaking. So films that reveal a crack in your reality, the possibility of a hidden door, of a rabbit hole to fall through. And so he says, you know that scene in the Matrix when he's in the hotel room and they're about to give him the pill?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the craziest part of the movie. So he says, we too are in that decrepit hotel room with Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus, who is really speaking to us when he addresses Neo, the ever-wooden Keanu Reeves. You know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your whole
you're
life.
right. We were in-
You felt that something is wrong with the world. You don't know what, but it's like there, like a splinter in your mind. And establishing that itch, which I suppose most of us share, however we interpret it, Morpheus offers to scratch. He will give Neo nothing more than knowledge of the truth, i.e., no solutions to the problems posed by said truth. And then he goes on and he says, like a serpent in the Garden of Eden, Okay, so hold on.
Wow.
Morpheus offers Neo a pill, like the serpent in the Garden of Eden.
Give
Morpheus
an
offers
apple.
Neo a pill. Neo, of course, swallows the molecular package, which is really the most heroic act in the film. For Neo must then pass his own Cartesian passage through madness, melting into the mirror that alludes not only to Lewis Carroll, but to the mystic psychotic collapse and disappearance of the externalized ego that stabilizes our inner void.
Right.
As Neo phases out of the Matrix, he opens up, however briefly, the fractured bardo that is the secret thrill of every fan of the false reality genre. The moment when baseline reality dissolves, but no new reality has yet emerged in its pixelating wake.
Cool. That's great, man. That's
I mean,
So-
the fact that Eric
trippy.
Davis reads this deeply into the
Wow.
film, that's why you guys got to chat with him.
Yeah.
So let's listen to the story.
Tell me.
The case. It was dismissed when she failed to show up for a preliminary hearing of her case.
Oh.
So that can mean one of two things: either mean she's crazy, or they paid her to not show up.
No, she would just like.
No.
Why not? They made a settlement with her off the record.
Yeah, but they don't just not show up. Then they
Well,
say like we
then
made
maybe
a
they
settlement.
scared the shit out of her and told her not to show up. Something happened. She didn't show up.
You
and
think they
just let it
scared
go.
her, the Walensky's?
I mean, maybe she had no case at all, and she was just crazy.
Remember the
and
guy who
she
sued me
realized she
because I was your
crazy.
lawyer?
Oh, that's right.
The
Yeah,
angel
that girl's
of
crazy.
God.
The angel of God. Yeah, I was his lawyer. I had to get a lawyer to go to court.
Yeah.
How long were you in court with that thing?
About a year.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
How many times
Over and
did you have
over
to go
again.
to court?
To keep responding. To keep responding to them. He sued me for being a false prophet. And no, I'm sorry. He wanted to
got a
sue.
point.
Yeah, and being a bad lawyer. And the Better Business Bureau came after me.
So you lost the case.
No. This girl Lisa helped me fight the case, and they had to show her. He was suing me for all the riches in the world. And then because she had to read it to the judge, like, this guy's crazy. She's like, what do you mean? She goes, read that, and she did. The judge read it, and he was like, oh. And so they made him rewrite it, and he goes, okay, that $800 billion was what he sued me for.
Well,
All
that's
the
reasonable.
riches in the world.
That leaves a lot on the table. There's a lot of room for negotiation. I mean, assuming that you're going to continue to be more successful.
He
every
did promise
year.
me, though, that when he did eventually become King of Kings, he could repay me with untold riches.
King of Kings is a big title for a guy living in a homeless shelter.
I represent him pro bono.
I love this guy's like levels of riches. He has all the riches in the world, but that's exceeded by untold riches.
No, all the riches in the world is more.
Well, then if you
Untold
pay him
riches.
all the riches in the world and he pays you back in untold riches, you're getting ripped off.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a bad.
That's what
it's
he's suing me for. I denied him.
Then why he's not really paying you back? He's giving you a little bit of what you
Yeah,
gave
he's giving
him.
me some for helping him.
Yeah.
That's about right.
You're just saying riches are confined to the world, Ari. I disagree.
Oh.
Untold riches could be all the riches in the
Oh,
universe.
you're really thinking outside that
You
box.
should have had me as an attorney.
Oh.
Yeah,
'Cause
maybe
I
I'll
go
hire
for-
you to represent me.
That would have been
Fake you
amazing.
attorney
It's
is a
fake attorney Duncan represents fake attorney Ari being sued by crazy guy.
He kept trying to use bigger lingo because I would sometimes. So he'd be like, "Where to for?"
Oh, that's awesome.
The plaintiffs who are attacking me. He also wanted to sue San Diego State Hospital, and I think they really fucked him up. I think he got in the psych ward there.
Oh,
they
really?
fucked him up. Yeah, I think.
Really?
He wanted to sue that guy, Dean. Who
Gelber.
talked to the dead? Something Dean something. Dean Edwards?
Dean Edwards.
John Edwards?
John Edwards, yeah.
John Edwards.
Dean Edwards is a comic.
Because it was just like the guy who ran for president.
Dean Edwards.
Yeah, and I remember saying, like, well, why would he said he wanted to sue him for being a false prophet, and I was like, why would you get that money?
Hey, wait. Can I change the
Wow,
subject
you're
for?
talking
and-
logic with a crazy guy.
Let me change the
Congratulations.
subject for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You're talking about just because we were talking about riches outside the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This meteor harvesting thing. Do you know about this?
Planetary resources.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
fucking
Peter Diamandis
crazy.
is behind it, dude. They just launched $1 million Kickstarter project to create a space telescope for public use because they're launching a whole fleet of tiny space telescopes to scan for near-Earth asteroids that we can then land on and leverage for resources.
Pull back in mine.
A typical one has like $1 trillion worth of plutonium,
Really?
for example. Oh my god, insane!
Because that's why they're doing it. They're not doing this when they're talking about how NASA wants to grab an asteroid or a meteor. It's a meteor or an asteroid.
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 So that
When they say this, you know they're not doing this. You know it's not just scientific reasons. They don't just want to.
Oh no,
They want to harvest this shit.
Riches beyond all previous limits, but it's
Right.
okay because that's just an
Untold
incentive.
riches.
You know?
Yeah, if they can
Yeah.
really pull it off, and that
Yes.
helps
Yeah, that's
everybody.
why they would go do that. That's
Yeah.
why there's technology.
So
That's
they're
why
saying there's
advancement.
figure out a way
plutonium in
to-
those things.
so that somebody can make money and then
Yeah.
How do they know
get
there's
laid.
plutonium in those things?
Oh, they know.
Oh, they know
by
the,
their,
they know the chemical composition.
Is
of
it
all
based
that
on
stuff.
asteroids
Just
that have fell
just
into
like
Earth?
They can make estimations about what Jupiter is composed of. I mean, that's what's kind of insane about humanity.
That's
that we can
exciting.
actually use our
Yeah.
brains to extend our
Yeah,
sensory
what is the
apparatus beyond
mechanism?
Earth.
What's the mechanism of determining the
don't know.
contents of an asteroid?
But
I have no
they
idea.
knew the last few elements
No
of the
idea.
periodic table. They knew how much they'd weigh.
That's insane.
They knew where they fit in that chart. They we haven't discovered them, but we know exactly what they'll weigh and how what their mass
The
would.
ability of the human brain to acquire such knowledge about the building blocks of the physical world. What does that say about like us as like this
See,
unique?
Right?
you
It's
keep
like
lumping
natural.
me into that group, and that shit's preposterous.
What
I don't
group?
even; those aren't even related to me. Those are totally different kind of animals. Those people that are figuring that out.
But I don't think they are, because the fact that we can have this conversation means we can acknowledge some kind of understanding of what we're talking. I mean, I think
It's
that
childlike. It's a childlike understanding. Comparison to the dude who figured
Sure.
out what a quark gluon plasma
Yeah, but-
particle
but
would weigh,
you-
and then made it.
Right.
Made something that if you get a
Yeah.
sugar cube of, it'll
Yeah.
fall straight through the center of the earth because it'll weigh like 400 billion pounds or something
So
fucking
you,
crazy.
so you think it's
That's
just a
not
different kind of
exactly
animal? You think it's
how
just a
much.
different kind of brain? You think like if we went and sat with him for a couple
Maybe.
weeks, he could explain it to us? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
'cause
he
I-
can
Maybe.
think in normal terms.
You know, I think
after a while.
people are remarkably adaptable, and
Yeah.
people go down certain paths.
Yeah.
I think in life.
Yeah.
And if you meet a guy who's like been a ballet dancer since he was 4 years old, and
Yeah.
now he's 25
Yeah.
and doing these twirls in the air and shit, you would look at that guy moving. And I don't know why I chose ballet dance. So let's just go with it. But you would look at that guy moving there, going like, that guy is so far down the path, I could
Yeah.
never possibly catch up to him.
Right.
But I think
You could do ballet. Joe.
human beings have a capacity for continuing down a path in a very far way to the point where they're almost unrecognizable from when they first started.
Yeah, an insane specialization, like a
Yes.
malleability, like an
Well, I
ability
know
to
that
transform.
from martial arts, especially.
It's amazing how you can see that about, let's say, a ballet artist.
Yeah.
Dancing and stuff. And be like, wow, I can never do that.
Yeah.
And you could easily say, there's no way I could. But everybody thinks they could do stand-up
Isn't that funny?
with no training at all. They're like,
Isn't
I
it
can do
funny that
better
they
than you.
don't really know what we're doing? It's
No.
like they think that we're just telling jokes, and we absolutely are. But it's all about where to put them, how to say them,
Oh, I think
how
comedians
to
are
structure
philosophers.
them.
I think they're
It's-
modern philosophers. They're
it's-
stand-up philosophers.
It's also hypnotism. Because there's some weird thing that you're doing where you can
Yeah.
get them into
Pausing,
the way you're
raising your voice,
thinking.
lowering your voice.
Yeah.
And you get them tuned into the way you're thinking by giving them shit that they want to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can find that rhythm, like where it's a thought that they would entertain themselves, then they'll allow your
Yeah.
mind to work for them. Because like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's got a very aware mind. I'm curious to hear how he looks at things.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
allow him to think for
Yeah.
me.
It's the same thing presidents
Well, but-
do.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
how you have
and
with
in
your
those
God.
moments, those
On a
people
big
are plugging
scale.
into you the same way when you watch a movie, you become the character in the movie. Those people are plugging into you, and in
Yeah.
that moment, when you enter that flow state, do you feel like a conductor in an orchestra, like literally,
Absolutely.
like you move
Sort
in this
of.
Oh,
direction?
yeah,
Not even
conductor in an
that.
orchestra. That's exactly how it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you guys are in a flow. You become in sync. Something
Right.
there is interesting that's happening, and I don't know if we could even measure that. Like when people sync up like that,
Yeah.
whether it's lots of people to one
Yeah.
person or lots of
We don't
people to
know
lots
how
of other
yet.
people. Like,
Yeah, you don't
what
have a
is
scale
that?
for that. You don't have a scale
yet.
for
Right.
that feeling.
Sure, I think you can study the way that metallic particles react to magnets. I think you can look at the
Yes.
way sound waves affect water.
You could
And
probably-
we use
yeah.
those metaphors. We
Yeah.
say he's so magnetic when he's
Yeah.
on stage. I mean,
Yeah.
we use those metaphors to explain something for which we have no instrumentation
Yeah.
or way to quantify or measure, yet we employ those capacities. We use those capacities. We pay people millions of dollars because they're charismatic. Well, how do you measure charisma? Is there a little machine that measures it like radiation? Like
Well,
he has
you
97 kelvins of charisma. So we employ these things, but we can't measure them. They
You can-
exist, but we can't
But
measure
you
them.
can focus attention. What you're doing, and attention is a specific pattern of neural activity. So the idea is that you have this group of people,
Yes.
and you're transforming their neural activity
Yes.
to match some intention that you
Yes.
have. Whether it's
Yes.
because you want them to listen to your
Yeah.
speech about hotels,
Don't
or
you wish
whether
you
want
could
them to
see
laugh.
that? Like, don't you wish there was like a special light you could use that could show that
Yeah,
energy
exactly. Like,
transferring?
oh, I'm getting it. Okay, I know where I
Show
am
the
now.
vibration. We can see the cell phone signals going through us
Yeah,
right now. Like
right,
if I
that
could
would be
see
cool.
how my attention.
But
is
go
being
and watch a
captured by
group
you.
of people dancing who are all on ecstasy,
Yeah.
and or look at the way
Right.
fish move around
Yes.
a coral reef.
Yes.
Or look at
Yes.
you see this exact same undulating quality. to
Insane.
it.
Like
Yeah.
a hidden order to things. Well, there's an essay, dude, called "Virtual Reality and Hallucination," written by Diana Slattery on Reality Sandwich, and it's all about that. She says the capture and management of attention is a vital component. A state of immersion, a state of absorption is a vital component in any kind of interpersonal transformation or education or influence of any capacity or growth. In other words, you need to be completely sucked into whatever it is that's going to really like transform you and get inside of you.
Yeah.
So it all has to do with the capture and management of attention. And what are psychedelics if not attention technologies, rhetoric technologies? What is language if not a technology to capture attention and shift
In
awareness?
that sense, that any discipline is a psychedelic experience in the long haul.
Yes.
Because disciplines transform you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And they focus attention.
Yeah.
They
Tarantino said
focus
all
attention.
for Pulp Fiction, he just wanted people to put the laundry away while they were watching. Just not fold shit. Just look at it. That's all he wanted.
What?
So you get lost in it. So you can
Exactly.
get people on your
Focusing
side.
attention is
Yeah.
the key to everything. If we had the power to
Right.
decide at any given moment to focus our attention on the best possible thing that we could focus our attention on, our
Yeah.
life would be like a living, breathing sculpture. It would be like a dream, like constantly.
Paul
rendering
Mooney's the
itself
best
into
at
existence.
that.
Or
Just
it would
getting
just be
everybody's
you
attention.
jerking off in the new socks.
But think about how
Sounds like a dream
But
world.
think about how profitable being able to grab people's attention is. And
Oh my God! It's everything.
It's like
it's everything. It's the
Yeah.
currency of this new age.
Yes.
Attention is the new limited resource.
Yeah.
Attention is the new oil. In a world of social media,
Right.
of infinite media, infinite channels, who succeeds but the one who is most physically able to capture and manage attention? And that's where, like,
Right
you see
colors.
the phenomenon of something like this. You guys, I'm always talking about, like, it's been a year and people are still saying, come back and have this conversation. I mean, that just means
Right.
that you've tapped into a nerve that millions are feeling. And when you consider that 10,000 hours of content is uploaded to YouTube every hour, that you still have millions of people that come and join this conversation, shows like the power of that. Like, it's like shining a little bit brighter than the other 10,000 hours. Do
But
you know
it's
what
a
I mean?
funny thing when the
The other
attention doesn't tune in. Like when you see Obama in Germany recently, did you see that shit? The speech he gave? Ooh, it's creepy. That's like Alex Jones level creepy.
Why?
His
'Cause
speech
nobody
in
paid
Germany.
attention?
Well, no, not aside from the fact that there was only like the first time he came there, it was packed. Hordes of people
Yeah.
came to see him. This time it was sparse and empty. But what was really creepy was his echoey message about how we have to give up freedom for security. And you hear this coming out. It's like,
Obama was saying it.
oh yeah,
Uh-huh,
yeah, oh yeah. He was saying he was fucking sticking up for the goddamn NSA because
Yeah.
this leak.
Can you
is-
pull up that, Jamie? See if you can find that.
it might
We
be a
gotta
long
listen to that.
speech, but it
Well,
was
let's listen to
spooky.
some of it at
He's
least.
out there baking in the heat, sweating, and giving this proclamation of how there's a balance between. He was just talking about the importance of the security state. And by the way, there's a logical part of my brain that considers what they're saying. I have to allow myself to give consideration to
Well,
what
me
they're
too.
saying.
Me too,
You know
of
what I
course.
mean? But there's another because
Well, especially because I'm thinking, well, if this allows them to stop somebody from blowing themselves up in the subway, then cool, you know?
What a pickle you're in. What a pickle you're in if you know that if I have this much width breadth when it comes to monitoring, then I can stop people from getting blown up. What happened at the Boston Marathon? I can stop a kid from getting
Right.
turned into fucking hamburger meat.
Yeah, right.
So now you're basically saying, well, what do we do here? Are we going to do we just say, okay, well, I guess the cost of people's privacy is that from time to time, children get evaporated? Or do you say, no, we've got to grow up to the fact that
We're an interconnected system. We're
Yeah.
all cells in a bigger organism.
It's tough.
And we
you
don't
know,
want to
this-
give up our security
you know,
as a
the-
people. I don't think the
we-
price is worth it.
we
I
can't
think
trust
we're
the
also-
government.
Not only that, I think we're looking at the thing incorrectly. I think the thing that they should be concentrating on is the mental health issue.
Yeah,
What
another
makes
thing.
people willing to lash out and kill large numbers
That's
of
another
people?
thing. Instead of
So what do you think-
what do you
investing
think-
in
where do you think that
defense,
comes
you can
from? Well, that-
you can
that-
invest in research for mental health, and you would solve a lot more murders.
We know when babies are born.
Potentially,
okay?
I agree
we
with
know we have birth certificates. We know where people are living. People
Yeah.
have social security numbers. Why can't we find out whether or not people are doing really bad?
Well,
Why
it's
can't
hard
we
when
find
they're
out whether or
in
not
the-
people are losing their minds?
Well, it's hard when they're in Yemen.
No, I mean, even in America, we can't find out. I
Yeah.
think we do not have an accurate account of our citizens, yet we could pretend that we're some sort of a community.
Yeah.
But we don't have an accurate account of the health of our citizens.
When
We
SAG
don't.
told me they weren't going to cover my mental health anymore because of some type of Obamacare that went into action, they said
fuck.
you can't carry everybody, you can't carry them all. So only Plan 1 gets it, Plan 2 gets none.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, I hope another Jared Loeffner goes into your building and shoots
Oh, my
every
Did you
one
say
of you.
that?
Yeah.
Did you say that?
Yeah. What are they going to pull right after that? They're going to pull everyone's
pee.
mental health insurance?
Yeah, because that crazy guy lost his health.
Well, that's what
insurance,
you're turning
or
us all.
lost his
One of us is going to
medication.
do that.
But let me ask you something. Do you think that when a person
stupid.
implodes like that, like if we're talking about what happened to that person on like a human scale, we might say, okay, well maybe years of disaffection and radicalization and propaganda and mediation from the wrong influences and his focused attention on the wrong place
It could be
until
just
his
mental
whole
health
personality.
as well.
Yeah,
It could be a real issue, medical issue.
Right, but let's zoom out for a little bit and think of that person as a cell in the bigger organism. Is he like a cancer cell? Is he the equivalent of like when a cancer cell starts to like replicate without concern for the rest of the cells in the system? I mean, is
That's a
that
fair
what
way
it
of
is?
looking
Is
at
it a broken thing?
Yeah.
Could it be fixed? Like just like we want to make advances in medicine to detect cancer cells before they metastasize. Can we find human beings before they metastasize into
that?
I think it's not an either or. I think sometimes yes, sometimes no. I think sometimes it's probably a medical issue. And
what about research in terms of being able to find it? To find the genetic markers that predispose you to that.
And then there's a lot of
I think
controversy.
we got to watch these people.
But isn't culture ultimately the technology that does that? Isn't culture like when we call TV, we call it programming. It programs you. It teaches you about right and wrong and what's legal and what's not legal. And if you're part of the pop culture, you're programmed into a kind of mainstream consensus trance that basically says we're moderately free as long as you don't physically hurt me and I don't physically hurt you, and you know you don't do certain things. But we have these kind of frameworks to impose some kind of an order so that the system can have some kind of function. So it just makes you wonder, like especially with the privacy things, are they really like spying on me, or is it more like I'm a billion lines of code mixed with a billion other lines of code and just a bunch of algorithmic cascades, and then they just detect when there's like weird behavior associated with violence that they would zoom in on
or
something.
they will use it. They will use anything you've done wrong as an excuse to go and really go after you.
They don't have the manpower for that.
If you say no, but if they already want to fuck with you, they can look at your stuff and say, "Oh, he owns too large a lobster," which is a federal offense.
Ari, let me ask you
whether or not you bought it from anyone.
But you
then
think
they
that
can
why
use
would
that
they
to
want
say
to
he's
fuck
broken
with
the law.
you when there's people that want to blow themselves up in subways?
Oh,
Don't
no.
you think that that's going to occupy
Let's
most
say
of their
this.
attention?
Let's say this. Why? This is why. Because some guy who works there, you fucked his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, snap, son.
God damn.
Shit just got real.
You know what I mean?
So a human
and then
nature.
you're giving that guy the power to abuse it.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I don't like. And I think
and that's what this guy's saying is absolutely possible.
Here's
this
my
guy's
question.
saying that the people that work at the organization, like him, and they
humans
keep
after
referring
all.
to him as a high school dropout, which is hilarious. Like,
He was your coder?
Didn't you?
He was your guy?
Hire him?
Yeah.
Like, are you pretending you don't know this guy?
By the way,
fucking
when has it ever worked? This is the question we have to ask. You know that saying, if we don't understand history, we're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
Let's look in the past. At what point has a government gained full access to the information flow of its citizenry where it hasn't gone wrong? Show me where. What nation has it been where it's like, oh yes, that was that one government that knew that studied all the correspondence of all its citizens, and it didn't go wrong at all. It didn't tighten down. Didn't become a security state. It was a utopia. No, no, it doesn't exist. It's
North
always
Korea.
bad.
It's North Korea.
Yes.
Okay, but here's the counter argument to that. Do you think that if given the proper instruments, the citizenry could police themselves? Could we have
nowadays
a society that becomes like Airbnb, where everybody can rent their own place and everybody else judges everybody else? And
you don't need
rates
someone
everybody
now
else?
to tell you about a good dentist. You can just look online and you're
Exactly.
connected to all the citizens
And they all vet each
who
other.
have told you by 4.5 stars.
Right. Like I was asking my brother, I was like, how do you know somebody from Airbnb is not going to be some serial killer who's going to cut me into pieces? He's like, well, because you can look at the 50 other people that stayed at his house and they rate his cleanliness and they rate his... So you can go anywhere in the world and have this
Same way hookers work now on Eros.com.
Networks that regulate each other.
Yeah.
Self-regulating networks. So it's almost like we are connecting to each other, and it's like a homeostasis is being formed where the system is self-regulating.
We made the government in a time where we didn't have that ability.
Right.
And now we do.
Right. So
and
the government is becoming obsolete. Right. So it's
the government's an appendix.
It's not utopia, but these decentralized peer networks that self-regulate each other with no top-down management, but just lateral, is leaning towards a kind of like space in which we can
we have Congress because we didn't have the ability to send
represent
someone
ourselves.
From California. We can't speak in
agree.
Washington, so we need to send some guy as our congressman to speak for us.
Outdated.
But now we can speak for ourselves.
Right.
We don't need
so
that.
Outdated.
A lot of
All
people
these
doing
representatives
democracy
are
2.0. I
outdated.
mean, we need literally like iOS doesn't get an upgrade for our iPhone every 6 months. We freak out. Like we need to upgrade literally the way the whole governmental system works to use these new technologies.
It should be online. It's really simple. The idea that anybody controls it is ridiculous. It should be online, and there should be some sort of anonymous type group that controls the code to make sure that nobody can fuck with it.
Like Bitcoin.
Or
Well, that ultimately
someone
becomes-
who's on top of shit.
Maybe the AIs.
develop like a global ethic amongst the hackers.
Anonymous is us.
By the way,
Yeah.
but
There's no,
no,
like,
no one's
leadership
giving.
there.
Here's the thing.
But here-
no one's giving this power up.
Exactly.
This is where I think that
They're just
this is
taking
where
it.
I think this fervent
Exactly.
form of naive futurist comes into being. Where, and not just futurists, spiritualists, and a lot of other people think, oh, you know, these as you're saying, these what do you call it, peerless networks.
Yeah, these decentralized peer networks.
And by the way, when I say you, I mean me too, because I do have this hope that somehow this thing is just like an escalation
Yeah.
towards bliss, and it's
Yeah.
all going to work itself
Yeah.
out. And I do
Yeah.
think that.
Yeah.
But again, if you look back at history, you will see that even if a thing has become archaic and antiquated, it doesn't mean that the people running that thing are going to give it up.
No, they don't want to give
They
it up.
will
They're not going
give it
to.
up. The only way they give it up is through violence.
Bam.
And this is
That's our inevitability here.
Yeah.
We're in for a
Whoa.
revolution here in our lifetime.
Jesus,
Kurzweil
relax,
says,
boys.
Kurzweil says that that's actually not the case, and he says that, you know, like, the radio industry didn't want like TV to become a thing, and it didn't need to be violence for TV to like become.
No,
the
we're not
dominating thing.
talking about
And
Ari
there didn't need to
Shaffir
be,
is
but there
ready to
didn't need to
start
be.
a goddamn revolution.
But
No,
they're
I'm ready to
just-
cheer it on.
No, but
I'm
I'm saying
a
that
coward. I'm not going to get involved. But I'm ready to say, here's some water, you guys. Go
Yeah.
out there and fight for us.
But I think that these technologies will meet resistance from the
I'll entertain you.
establishment. But I don't think that it requires violence for transformation to occur. I mean, we're seeing it through social media
I'm
and the
hearing
old
some-
What are you
media.
talking
I'm hearing
about?
some pussy talk,
Syria,
son.
Liberia, fucking the other one.
I think you mean Libya.
Gaddafi. Yeah, that's
Liberia's
the one.
Africa.
Yeah. It always gets overthrown. Like they don't give up. They don't give up, and they have the guns. So the only way to get them to give it up, taking the
There's other
guns.
ways,
Oh, here's
you know,
here's the
Which other ways? When does it work?
younger people who are growing up with
The
the internet,
die-out
who have
theory.
a different
Die-out
understanding
You're seeing in
of
Turkey.
the
It's like
future.
what you're seeing in
I don't think that a representative government's impossible. I just think that we have to have more accountability, and the thing that gives more accountability than anything is the internet. It forces accountability. So I think ultimately
You can't
it's-
record
it's an
cops
age
anymore?
thing.
You can't record
You
them?
can though. You can. Yes, you can.
They can arrest you.
No, they can't. No, I mean individual places have passed laws trying to make that real, but there's a bunch of videos online that show people telling cops.
They told me
that
today I
that-
couldn't take a picture of a TSA. I saw a baby being left on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny. So I took a picture. He goes, Sir, you can't take a picture of the checkpoint. I'm like, that's wrong. What you're telling me is not true. I'm going to take more pictures.
I gotta
Ari
say,
Shaffir,
I don't want there
gangster.
to be violence, man.
I don't
But
think there needs to be.
I think the dream, the naive dream of the futurists it's like you look in the animal kingdom. You look in not just the animal kingdom, but you look at any massive change that has ever happened is always surrounded by a release of energy. When things rapidly change, there's a release of energy, and energy releases are always violent. Bam! They're called explosions. So it's like
Well,
in
it
this
doesn't have to be though. Just because
It
I
can,
don't
be,
want
it
it
can
to
be
be,
a psychic explosion.
I-
It can be a consciousness explosion. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't
I think
require. I mean,
we're
it doesn't require
experiencing that.
Hiroshimas.
I think
know,
we're
like-
experiencing that. It's just again
Right.
like the psychedelic state of seeing the whole history unfold in a matter of a few seconds. I think this is just it's slow, so we're not really understanding what's happening. But we're seeing all these.
Well, the psychedelics are coming back.
We're seeing all
Yes.
these things. We're seeing all these paradigms crumble in front of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is because they're being exposed. They're being exposed by
Yes.
the internet. It's just happening to us too slowly.
Right.
Or it's happening, it's too confusing as to which direction it's going to
Yeah.
go. There's too much peril in it. It
It's
seems.
the last few people that are like, hey, it's changing. Like, no.
How do the
we need you to
robots
grab
make
this
the
little bit.
Ayatollah understand that it's not good to put women in beekeeper outfits? How did
You know, I completely concur with that. But I had an interesting experience. I was just in Berlin for a couple days, and I was hanging out at this. I went to this like steam room and spa over at the Soho House there,
yes?
and it's co-ed. So beautiful naked girls are walking around and showering in front of you.
Whoa.
In Germany, and it's
Wow.
perfectly normal. And of course, I'm loving it, but I'm also slightly like, what's happening here? And then I think we're just as primitive here with separating the men's room and the female room
Yes.
compared to them. We're like the beekeeper suit. Do you know what I mean?
Indeed, I know what you're saying.
And I would think of myself as, no, we're liberal here in America and that. But look how shamelessly those women are just walking around naked.
I
showing-
totally-
Yeah, and it's like, relax. We're not fucking.
I
Just calm
totally
down.
agree.
Right.
I totally agree with you. I think that what you're seeing is a spectrum of men kind of controlling women. Like if a woman takes her shirt off at the beach, she gets arrested in the United States.
Crazy.
But I think that if I'm going to be on some part of that spectrum, I definitely want to be on the part of the spectrum where the
It's more liberal.
definition of shirt is like a shoelace or something. I'd rather it be no shoelace at all.
Yeah.
But in that way, all I'm saying is I don't understand the solution to fundamentalists of any religion controlling massive populations, or in the case of North Korea, people controlling massive. I don't see how some android Jesus, I don't see how Kurzweil's manifestation of full brain emulation and the subsequent empathic connection that happens with people, I don't understand how that makes a person who's wielded control over a chunk of land using a false god. I don't understand how that's going to make them be like, you know what? I guess I was wrong.
Well,
you can
but our society has been transformed by a change in consciousness. I mean, you could argue that the 60s fundamentally changed the way we think. I mean, this place used to be a lot more Puritan than it is now. And people took a lot
used
of
to
drugs.
be a lot more liberal.
Okay, so you have it. You have both things happening. You
What
have
used to be?
cycles. You have things becoming.
Iran.
Yeah,
well, I hear
Lebanon.
it's very liberal now amongst the people.
Yeah, the
There's
actual
a
citizens,
social
citizens are very
revolution.
seculars, but
Yeah.
the government is what's really
But you
militant.
can
Well, there's
still
a
get
new
thrown
guy
in.
who got in office, but there's always going to be the Ayatollah that's a
Yeah,
supreme
he's-
leader.
yeah, exactly.
It's really a weird situation.
It's very strange
And the
what they
guy
have
who's the
over there.
Ayatollah has been the Ayatollah since like '89 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah,
it's something crazy like that.
Well, you know what, man? But let me just say this because I don't want to come off sounding like Ari, like I want some violent revolution.
I don't want one. I see it inevitable.
I don't.
Have you ever had Stephen Pinker on the show?
I don't think it's inevitable.
So Stephen Pinker called "Better Angels of Our Nature." He wrote a book called "The Better Angels of Our Nature." Is a TED talk called "The Myth of Violence," and he actually went up there and explained that the chances of a man dying at the hands of another man today are the lowest than they've ever been in all of human history.
Wow.
Ever.
The world has actually never been less violent than it is today.
But look at Syria, 100,000 people. Like, and
it's a lot, but I guess
That's
what
why
he's
it's so
saying is that it
horrific.
used to be worse. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
yeah,
The Mongols
exactly.
killed
Right.
1 million in a day.
Right. I see what you're saying. Yes, it's
On
that
a horse.
again. It's
Right.
that spectrum. It's a
In
spectrum.
a day?
Yeah, some insane number. It was probably.
Right.
I might be exaggerating.
Well, there
It
were
might be
battles like that in
72
World War
hours.
II.
72 hours. They killed 1 million people with horses. On horseback.
Awful.
No nuclear bomb. Just swords.
They must be so tired after that.
Oh, yeah.
You're chopping arms.
Oh,
Yeah,
God, just
that's when you got to run when they're that tired. After they killed 1 million people. Yeah. Yeah.
million.
Yeah. That's we have to really sort of grasp.
God.
It's hard to, but we have to try to grasp. Just what a short period of time we haven't been barbarians.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Catholic Church. You go back to the 1500s. They were drinking. They had like mistresses. The popes had mistresses.
They even raped kids
They had
back then.
armies. Yeah, they raped kids. They had armies. They had full
They had
armies.
armies.
The Pope had
Catholic
armies.
Church.
The Catholic Church had armies. The Vatican had an army behind it.
It's crazy.
I mean, you're talking about like really nutty shit. Like they asked for the Pope's help once in fighting off the Mongols.
Really?
And
'Cause
he
he had
didn't want to send any troops. They got lucky. The fucking Mongols died off. Woo!
Here's the thing, man. I want to be pessimistic again because I keep thinking about this. So it's like, okay. In the same way that it used to be, if a person had a great idea and wanted to transmit it, he'd have to get a printing press and he'd have to to get the idea around it took a long time. The idea would have to go by boats.
Yeah.
Right.
So now it's like, if you want to build a nuclear bomb, like it's really hard. Like you've got to have centrifuges, plutonium. It's a fucking bitch. Like you
Right.
can't just do it if you want to build a nuke. But as 3D printers begin to become more and more advanced,
And we get beyond
and
that.
they start working at the atomic level, then in the same way that we have accessibility to instantaneous communication, people are going to have accessibility to instantaneous
3D print guns or something.
creation of
Nuclear
all
weapons.
kinds of fucked up weapons.
Well,
look,
that's when
this
we're going to
is-
need an account of all the people in our community. That's we're going to need an account of them in a loving way.
No, but all it
where-
take was
where
one
we have
person.
Society like looking out for each other.
Yeah.
The idea
All it
is
would
that
take is
every
one guy in his
baby-
basement with a nuclear bomb.
You're right. But the idea is that every baby has the potential to become an awesome human being. Right. That's the idea.
Right.
Yeah.
But some of them just get shit rolls of the dice, and they get wound up with 2 asshole meth head parents who fucking leave them in a basement one day for 24 hours, and they starve to death.
Right.
This shit like that happens to kids. You just get a shit roll of the dice, or you can get an awesome roll of the dice.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's possible too. I think it's our job collectively as a human species to concentrate on the least fortunate amongst us. I think it's the thing that everyone takes for granted, everyone ignores, and every single guy who runs for president doesn't bring it up. They never say, look, our society is only as strong as its weakest link.
Right.
And we got a bunch of people that are being ignored, and they're an awesome resource. If we educated them and helped them and move them forward in some way, who knows what kind of great benefit you could get out of this community of people.
That's true.
I just think of that guy on Locked Up Raw. That one, like, you know, like the guy, I can't remember which guy it is, like one of these, like the people that you see in Locked Up Raw who are just like, you know, like I think, because, you know, I've thought, oh, I know the way to fix that is like you flood the prisons with LSD and like give these people hug therapy.
It would help a little. It would definitely help a little.
You're eventually going to have a 12 monkey situation.
I think you can do a
Somebody's going to
psychedelic
have
therapy.
so much effect on the rest of the population with like a toxin or like a bunch of nuclear weapons that it'll just drastically change everything.
Well, you know what? I think society has always thought that this was coming or not. You know, it's like there's always people that believe that the apocalypse is around the corner, and there's always people that had faith. And like Jason said, this is the safest time to be alive ever, but yet we're still like, fuck, the sky's falling.
Yeah.
But
you know
it's
what?
almost like a part of
like-
being a human to recognize all the flaws around us, to make it glaringly obvious that we're aware of them and to focus more attention on them and hopefully slow down the progress of the evil.
importance
Us being scared and neurotic and almost like negative has been biologically selected for to warn us against potential consequences. Like the the early caveman who was chilling
scared of
out
the dark.
looking at the sky got eaten quickly.
Right.
The one that was like scared of impending doom survived. So it's no coincidence that we have evolved that. But until we start like playing with our own genomes, like we can't change our basic dispositions, which is to pay attention to whatever we think is dangerous. But I think it does have, you know, knowledge is power. When you appreciate, oh, really? The world has never been safer? That's interesting. Not to say there's not a lot of things to worry about. It's not to say that there's not school shootings and 3D printing guns could be dangerous. But let's look at the actual facts as it is today.
Yeah, but all it would take, but in the beginning, if one guy out of 100 of them went a little nuts, he would punch some people.
Right.
And then as technology got better, he'd stab 2 people and then got stopped. And then as technology got better, he put off a bomb. And then as technology got better, he flew a plane into a building. And as technology gets better, you can affect millions and millions of millions of people all at once with just one guy that falls in the cracks.
Well, this is
It's
definitely
very much like the internet.
But
really.
it's funny, Ari, what you're saying goes against your hate of the surveillance state, because you could see how in an accelerating technology where
gonna
people can
happen.
blow each other up with increasing increasing competency, you can see the necessity for perhaps you know, an observation of everything. It's a fucking, that's what I'm saying. It's a pickle, man.
Yeah, but I think that's going to happen anyway. You're never going to stay fully. You can't monitor everybody
but just
at all
because something's
times.
going to happen
I
doesn't
think
mean you don't try to stop it. I mean,
trend- delay it.
The trend seems irreversible. The trend towards everybody having access to everything at all times. I think we're going to have a real problem with money, because money right now is just, you know, it's used to be based on gold, and now we got this ones and zeros thing that we're rocking that doesn't really make any sense at all.
I think that
It's a
Bitcoin's not going to last, but I think the
sustained
thing that comes right after Bitcoin is going to be the one.
Oh, have you guys heard about this shit?
Bitcoin's going to be the friend's third.
But I wonder, I mean, I think we live in a really strange time, because as access to information gets more and more transparent, more and more free, where we all have access to everything, well, then what exactly is financial resources?
It's going to become obsolete.
Where are those ones and zeros? Where do they go?
No,
Like,
none of it's. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, it's like there'll be a permeation point where transparency gets to a point where everyone has access to everything at all times. You're not going to be able to store any secrets, so you're not going to be able to have money. You're not going to be able to put ones and zeros all in your bank account. It doesn't mean anything. Someone will take your ones and zeros.
But there also might not be a reason for anybody to hurt each other. Like, you know,
It doesn't have to be that
right.
way.
McKenna says we're all going to move into universes of our own construction. But then, like Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis just say, you know, technology is a resource liberating mechanism. The whole idea of scarcity is just contextual. You know, we fight over 1% of the fresh water in the world when this is a water planet. Desalinization revolution could give us all the water we could ever need. We fight over energy. We get 10,000 times more energy from the sun than we would ever need. With nanotechnology, matter becomes a programmable medium. We can turn anything into anything. So, I mean, when we have just like infinite abundance potentially, what would we fight about? There would be no incentive to fight.
Pussy.
We could clone
Argument
pussy.
over,
Yeah.
son.
We could clone. We
Boom.
live in virtual
No,
reality
You know what it's like?
Here's
environment.
the
Diamonds.
naive
Girls
thing
don't
you're
want
saying.
fake diamonds.
But
They
the
want real diamonds that came from coal, and the guys are going to want real pussy that you earn. Oh, she's a real person?
Well, we
Damn,
can have it in
dude, that's
virtual
gangster.
reality.
Now,
We'll
then-
have virtual games where we can be the heroes in our own
the
universe.
flaw in your argument, and the terrifying flaw in your argument, is the assumption that people do things for a reason. You're saying people do things because they don't have enough, or they do things because of this or that.
It's really just
some of the
reactive a
most
lot of times.
horrible things are done for no reason at all. They're done because the biocomputer that somebody's running clicked the wrong way, and they decided it'd be fun to hear the sound of a teenage boy's neck snap
but that's
when
a
they're
cancer
painted
cell.
like a clown.
So that's a cancer cell. That's a thing that's not doing. It's not moving towards complexity and organization in the sublime,
Right.
like the rest of the evolutionary process.
That's why there's the urge to kill it.
right.
There's the urge to kill it, but what the interesting thing, and I think I think McKenna said this. There's this relay. There's a race happening right now. There's a race happening because it's not as though these two things can't exist at the same time. It's like we were talking about this, and I've been thinking out a bunch since how, in phones, of course, there are conflict minerals. What's the name of that shit in phones?
Coltan.
What's it called?
Coltan.
So in phones is coltan. So we know that in our phones, in this device that's allowing us this greater connectivity, is the suffering of children in African
Congo.
minds. So we see in nature that there is this intertwining of horror and of darkness and light.
Very
And
interesting.
to think that somehow technology is going to make things all light is to say that we will actually rewire the universe, when in fact it seems like what's happening is an acceleration on both sides of the scale.
Yeah.
And as that acceleration happens, there will be an equivalent amount of this orgasmic utopian Teilhard de Chardin omega point with the other side of the thing, which is the absolute obliteration of all humanity through nuclear weapons or bioweapons. Now, here's the hopeful thing is what Martin Luther King said, which is the universe bends in the direction of justice. And there is this hope that there's a refraction in
It's
this
the
lens
same thing
where
that-
things are going towards the direction of
hope.
creation instead of
Yeah, well,
obliteration.
Stephen Johnson says it's not utopia, but it's leaning that way. So, you could
Right.
argue that things are better. They're not perfect. They're better. Technology amplifies
right.
the good in us. It amplifies the bad in us, but maybe it amplifies the good a little bit more than it amplifies the bad, so that eventually it might subvert completely.
That's the hope, baby.
light.
Sounds
The
like-
light might swallow the darkness.
That's the faith.
Extropy might transcend entropy completely. We might become immortal gods living outside of time. And maybe that's the singularity.
Yeah.
Maybe
This sounds a
maybe
lot like
it
the
is.
battle between hell and heaven.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
that
It is.
almost
That's
seems
what's
like
funny.
that
It's
that
the same
happened
thing.
before.
It's not a coincidence. We need those archetypes to make sense of what's happening. We've used the same archetypes: religion, salvation, transcendence, the same things. The difference is that religion never produced what technology produced. Religion never let us fly through the air. Religion never gave us cell phones. It never gave us the internet. Technology does.
outlawed.
So in
Sorry.
our desire to believe that these things are going to help us transcend our limitations, technology is actually delivering a little bit more than the previous stuff.
Oh, a
How
lot
dare
more.
you? How
Right.
dare you with your a little bit?
Well, there you go. A lot more.
Trying to be
Cyborg
kind.
arms
You're
and
trying to make friends. In the
Kids
religious
are
community.
hearing again.
They made Galileo apologize.
Yeah, they said you
Wow,
dick. You were
that's
wrong.
The church.
Yeah, they were
What do
silly
you have to
bitches.
do with the?
You guys want to see a trippy video about us being cyborgs?
Okay, we're gonna
Yes.
wrap this up with this trippy video
Okay,
because
cool.
I gotta get out of here. I've
All
been
right,
working
cool.
all day.
Let's do it.
Howdy,
Power
Krishna.
to the people.
Happy Mushroom Fest to everyone who's
Yeah.
participating.
Shroom Fest, bitches.
God is love. Everything's going to be fine. Forget all that explosion shit.
Yes, and before we go, we would just like to thank hover.com. Go to hover.com/Rogan. Get 10% off of your domain name purchases, and stamps.com. If you click on the microphone, enter in the code word JRE, get yourself a special offer. And onit.com. That's ONNIT. Use the code name Rogan. Save yourself 10% off any and all supplements. I've had a wacky few, actually like month and a half lately, ladies and gentlemen. And I wouldn't have been able to do all this stuff if I didn't enjoy the shit out of it. And it's a fascinating experience. So I want to thank all of you, and I want you guys to follow all my friends on Twitter, including Jason Silva. What is it? What is your Twitter?
Jason Silva.
At Jason Silva.
Yeah.
At Jason Silva. At Ari Shaffir.
Watch my storyteller show online on YouTube.
Yeah, there's a
enjoy
couple
free
of them
free
now.
comedy.
The first one was really good too. Where'd you film those?
Cheetahs.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Fine.
It looked like some sort of a strip club type
club.
environment. It's
Yeah.
perfect. And T.J. Miller's one was really good too. That was really funny. And it's a really interesting sort of setup the way you have it. And I love that Comedy Central had the balls to put that online like that. Just produce it, make it like a real show, like a legit TV show, put it online, and if it gets a good reaction, they'll probably wind up doing something like that on television.
Let all the comics, exactly. And let all the comics like you do what you feel is right.
Yeah. So go and check it out and support it. Joey Diaz is coming. Support it, folks, because Ari Shaffir is a bad motherfucker.
I'd like to do it on television for you guys,
the
too.
Concept is sound.
So pass it around.
And he would like to get some of that sweet, sweet TV money.
Mostly, I really just want to put on a good show for people.
You do.
I wanna
Your
check it out,
intentions
man.
are 100% pure. You're a real legit comic, Ari Shaffir. It's an honor watching you grow from being a dude who was just sort of getting on stage the first time to being a legit headliner. It's awesome. It's cool to see.
Thanks, man.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Same to you, Duncan Trussell, you sexy
YouTube,
bitch.
Comedy
you,
Central,
Joe.
this is not happening.
All right, you fucks. Follow Duncan Trussell on Twitter. Duncan, DUNCAN. Trussell, TRUSSELL.
Listen to my podcast, Duncan Trussell Family Hour. Hardy
Double S, double L. That's Duncan Trussell.
Oh my
Awesome.
God.
All right, you
And
fucks.
if I may add, I would love everyone to check out Brain Games on National Geographic.
yes.
So I have a new series. It airs
Season
Monday
2,
nights
right?
at 9. We're doing season 2 now in the fall, but
Yes.
currently we're still airing it. Next Monday is the final episode, actually, the 12th episode. So please check out Brain Games on National Geographic. And I also launched a new YouTube channel called youtube.com/Shots of Awe, where I'm releasing new videos of my crazy espresso psychedelic videos every week. So
Nice.
youtube.com/Shots of Awe.
If Red Band made that video,
And
it would
subscribe.
be it would be shots of awe, just AW, and it would just have kittens all day long.
Well, this one is Shots of Awe, AWE. But if you check it out, that new video is called "We Are Already Cyborgs." That's the one I want you to check it out.
Let's leave with that.
Jason Silva. Do you have that thing queued up?
YouTube.com/Shots of
How
Awe, and then
dare
it's
you.
the first one down. It's called "We Are Already Cyborgs."
How dare you?
We're already cyborgs. We can't get a goddamn YouTube video to play. You're fired.
Destroy the
dare you.
planet.
How dare you? All right, well, let's just recommend that people watch
Yeah,
it.
sure,
It's
sure.
called it's Shots of Awe on YouTube,
Yeah.
and We Are Already Cyborgs, which I concur, sir.
Awesome.
I concur. You're a bad motherfucker. Cosmic Dick Slinger.
Oh, yes.
The great
Silva.
Jason Silva.
Thanks for that. Thank you for
Powerful
having me,
Ari
guys.
Thank you.
Shaffir, powerful Duncan Trussell, powerful Jamie. We're out of here, you dirty fucks. We'll see you next week with new shenanigans. And Ari Shaffir and I go to Alaska to conquer the Great White North.
Yeah.
Go fishing like a motherfucker.
Ate a reindeer dog.
All right, you fucks.
Awesome.
We'll see you soon. We love the shit out of you. All right, big kiss. Mwah.
Mwah.